Hello, everybody. I have. Hi, Zero Herrera. Hi, Nady. Do you have low latency on? This is a chatting stream. You should have switched to like low or ultra low latency. I don't think you can. Yeah, you left it on normal latency, didn't you? Yeah. That is correct, Zero Her. It is evening proper. Yeah, I'm sure for some people it's like morning, middle of the night, middle of the day, afternoon. Yeah. Like I said, evening, later evening, middle of the night. I've got white hibiscus and peach with a generous helping of honey. Mm. Hey, NikNak. Chat doesn't hear you. Zero Herrera. Yeah, your sound does not exist. Are you muted somewhere? Is it the wrong mic feeding?
No, I just forgot to add primary mic. Hey guys! I'm here. Sorry, I had to create a brand new scene for this. So
Good job.
I didn't remember to add my own mic to the sources.
No, go to bed.
So Sekhie gave her tea choice for today because I asked her about what her tea choice was. My tea choice was an elderberry lemon balm with ashwagandha.
I hate elderberry. Well, no, I don't hate it. It's just not a preferred flavor for me. Like elderflower and elderberry. I don't like them very much. I've tried there's a Poland. It used to be a Poland exclusive, but it's a flavor of Fanta, and I think it's elderberry or elderflower. It comes in the blue bottle, and I really hate it. It's no longer Poland exclusive. It's all over Europe, but you still can't really get it here in the US a whole lot. But it is nasty.
Took a sip of Coke soda.
Okay, that is the backup. I do in fact have Diet Dr. Pepper here for when I run out of tea because unlike NikNak, I do not currently have access to a kettle of any kind. So I'm using a ladle and a pot on the stove, which is not the best for refilling tea in the middle of a stream.
See, I got me an electric kettle and a teapot.
For the next one of these, I'll be at home, and then I can be properly set up with the tea station.
A gallon of water in a gallon jug.
You know, Dohorio, that might be the most water I've heard of in one place since I went hiking with Cece last week. How are you at Jesus? I can't even drink a gallon of water in a good week.
Yeah, you just drink an unfortunately little amount of water if you left to your own devices.
Yeah, I truly do. It is probably medically concerning how little water I actually consume on a week, not even a daily, on a week to week basis, because I have gone entire weeks without drinking any water.
Sekhie, do you know what a Jamaica tea is?
No, but I'm gonna Google it.
Find out in a second. One problem with this tea set, the cups get too hot.
Oh, it's hibiscus tea. Actually, I have white hibiscus and peach tea right now. Sorry, I didn't realize that they called that Jamaican tea. I think I'm used to it being. Oh, I think I'm used to the Egyptian name from it because my mom buys Egyptian hibiscus tea. Yeah.
Do I have any hibiscus in my apartment right now? I don't know that I do.
I mean, you probably have it in a tea. It's very popular as a tea flavor.
Water and coffee in the morning. That's fair. That's fair. The reason coffee is a good morning drink. I've always been more of a tea person as opposed to coffee. Sekhie likes her some coffee though sometimes.
I do like me some coffee in the mornings. Incidentally, I just double checked. The way I would have called that, Nady, is carcade. Because my mom drinks it using the carcade. Because she went to Egypt once when she was younger and like fell in love with it. So we have a shit ton of tea in our house labeled carcade. But yeah, no, I can be a coffee. I think when I was younger, I was more of a coffee person than I am now. Because my parents started me very young on coffee. I think I started getting coffee every morning in middle school because I had to be up at like 6 a.m. to carpool with my mom to get to school. And then, let's see, through high school, I drank it every morning. When I first started at college, I didn't. But when I transferred to university, I would stop by the Starbucks like every single day of the week. Quarantine really did bad things for my caffeine consumption, like in
Yes,
terms
it
of
did.
coffee, because there was like a point where there was like a solid like 3 months. I remember because I was taking a nutrition class. There was a 3-month period where I was going to Starbucks twice a day, going through the drive-thru just to get human interaction in person and getting like a Trenta cold brew every single time. And drinking the entire thing. Like, I was not leaving leftovers.
Then there was a point after quarantine where you'd buy the Trenta cold brew and not even finish a tall's worth.
Because they never made it right. Like, it never tasted right. The thing is, when I still went to Starbucks, because I don't anymore, I have like 3 orders, right? 2 of them are relatively easy, right? There's like barely any modifications, if any, sometimes. And then my cold brew order sounds complex, but it's really not. It's one added ingredient. And for some reason, it just, like 7 times out of 10, they will not add one of the 3 ingredients I want in my drink. Like, I want coffee, I want vanilla sweet cream, and I want vanilla sweet cream foam. And when I say a vanilla sweet cream cold brew with cold foam added, they'll like take out the sweet cream and just add the cold foam. Or when I say vanilla sweet cream cold foam with vanilla sweet cream, they'll give me it with the cold foam but without the sweet cream. I'm like, I want it to taste like more vanilla than coffee. I want my coffee almost the same color as my skin tone these days. So white from vanilla creamer.
I mean, I can't judge. I'm the weird guy that actually likes a white mocha, so.
Ugh, I hate white chocolate.
Yeah, I know you do.
Yeah, Nady, that's the same thing with carcade, the Egyptian hibiscus tea. You just buy like the whole dried flower blossoms and then steep them yourself and add whatever you want. Yeah. So it's not like a curated tea so much, but it's just the whole flowers.
Yeah, I don't personally drink a lot of. I have a little coffee. Like there's like I get coffee. Sometimes I'll get it like if there's like a because I like me some pumpkin, so I get some pumpkin spice every once in a while when it's in season. And then I get myself like a white mocha every couple weeks when I'm downtown, not identifying which city downtown for work.
I cannot stand pumpkin spice in drinks anymore. I think I was okay with it a little bit when I was younger, and now I'm just like, it goes in some foods and not in other things.
I also like pumpkin significantly more than you do.
You do. I'm not a huge pumpkin person. You know, that's fair, Zara Herrera. You know, yeah. Oh, I go to the international stores to get so this isn't really popular in the US, but it's really popular in Eastern Europe and in the Mediterranean. But I get vishny sok. It's sour cherry juice. NikNak, you've tried it at my house, like that.
Yes, it is very good.
Yeah, because it's like really tangy and it doesn't have much added sugar. I think technically some people use it as a concentrate and dilute it with water. I don't bother. I never have because it was just what I grew up with. But yeah, I love the sour cherry juice. That's my favorite. Like if I'm gonna drink a juice, 9 times out of 10 it's gonna be sour cherry juice or like a mango juice these days. But I'm mildly intolerant to mango, so that's a that's a risk I take for mango.
So Sekhie, you've been slacking this week. No streams? Come on.
Yeah, respectfully, I'm out. I'm not at home. I have no access to. I have no ability to stream right now. Like this is being run off your computer.
Yeah, and even now, like you would not want to be streaming on this. You're on my end. I see you like phasing in and out while my stream's saying I'm perfectly good with no drop frames.
Yeah. The Wi-Fi is not great where I am. Perks and downsides of traveling for the work that you do is, sometimes I just end up in a place that doesn't have great Wi-Fi, and I don't have a stream set up unless I'm at home.
That's fair.
So, also, while my laptop is technically a gaming laptop, I would hesitate, with as old as it is, to test it on streaming any games that are of high, power usage. I would be slightly concerned, especially because I've been testing it recently because I was editing updates on it, which I was hoping to get updates done on my PC and I didn't. And I've been having the most awful memory usage on this computer. Even when I literally close every single tab, it's still reporting like a 47% memory usage. And I know that's because there's something cached somewhere, but I haven't been able to find it. So. Zero, I think I might have had Capri Sun once in my life, maybe twice. And it is.
I don't know what
unappealing.
I don't know what I ever saw in Capri Sun, but like I've had it like since high school was like the last time I had it, and oh my god, oh. But I used to love it. I used to love like the lemonade. I used to love the strawberry kiwi. Those used to be my favorite flavor. Now I can't drink them. They taste like piss.
In the way that I think many immigrant kids have commented, right? It's that, like, when I was a kid, I always wanted, like, Capri Sun, Sunny D, Lunchables, pizza rolls, but my mom would never buy that for me. So I never tried any when I was a kid. I think I tried my first Capri Sun in, like, middle school, right? Same with Sunny D. And, like, as a kid, I was like, oh my god, everyone's drinking these. They look so good. There's so many commercials for them. Like, I want them so bad. Why can't I have them? And then I tried them. And they weren't good.
I feel like, from my memory of the last time I had a Sunny D, I could still knock out a Sunny D if I wanted to, just not a Capri Sun. And Sunny D is like mediocre fruit juice. It's because it's like artificial still, but it's a lot better than fucking Capri Sun.
I think when I was in college, I bought an entire pallet of Sunny D's at like Costco. Because I had my own money, and I wanted to buy Sunny D because I hadn't been allowed it growing up. And I think I ended up giving away all but like the one that I tried.
Like even I can admit a huge part of that is that it's just a slightly nostalgic flavor. Get like the same flavor of drink in an actual brand of that drink. Like well, Sunny D is orange if I remember right? Is it orange? Or... It's supposed to be orange.
Citrus.
Yeah.
No. I checked. It's citrus flavor.
Just go buy a bottle of like Simply Orange or Simply Lemonade and you'll get like the same thing but actually good. Sunny D is still like a chemical artificial juice. Yeah,
I mean, if nothing else, we always had Tropicana in the house growing up because my dad liked Tropicana, so like, worst case. But yeah, no, that was one of those things where it was just like, because I tried Lunchables in like, I think college too, because I was like, oh my god, I've never had a Lunchable, and now I have like money, I can buy my own Lunchables. No.
Lunchables are like the most disappointing part of like childhood in my opinion. I never liked Lunchables either. Yeah, like I'd get them occasionally, and I just throw them out and eat like the cookies. Yeah,
but keep in mind, NikNak, I didn't have them growing up. I didn't have I didn't know they were disappointing. I grew up on commercials of them being so good and seeing all the cool kids eat them.
Okay, but what about
and I was never allowed them.
What about American cheese, bologna, and 2 Ritz crackers actually looks appealing?
It was the pizza one. I'm gonna be real. That was the one I always saw advertised. That was the one I got. I don't eat American cheese. Like, point blank, period. I'm so sorry, Dakota Doyle. That's unfortunate.
I categorize the pizza Lunchable as something kids enjoy, but for the same reason they enjoy pizza Pringles, because it's just called pizza.
I don't think it was good. Yeah, see, I had the most eclectic high school lunches, I think. Everything from, like, the death soup, to, like, that one time, the struggle meal when I poured Diet Dr. Pepper into a bowl of white rice and ate it with a spoon.
Have we told them about the death soup before?
I don't know. Okay, so I think it was our junior year. Yeah, it must have been our junior year, because I was taking ceramics. I think that was junior year. I could be wrong. It was sophomore or junior year. Anyways, I think the death soup started its life as ham bone and bean soup. I think that's what it started its life as. But my mom and I had made soup, and I was like, I'm gonna make this soup spicy. And I went to pour a little bit of kimchi hot sauce into it. And one of my cats, like, slammed into the back of my knee, and I dumped the whole bottle into the pot. The whole bottle of kimchi hot sauce. And then I fed it to NikNak at lunch. Well, I fed it to other people too. But, like, famously, it got its nickname from NikNak. And why did it get that nickname?
Because I tried some of it when she was saying that it was probably poisonous. And it wasn't so bad going down, actually. Actually, I like to think that it was genuinely pretty good for my preference in spice. I've had spicier before. The problem was once it was already down. Like, it's like, oh, that's not bad. And next thing you know, you just feel like this burning pain in your esophagus and chest as you feel it physically reach your stomach.
Honestly, I didn't think it was that bad.
By the way, I assume you got the exact same message I did, that our Sunday plans have to be reconsidered from scratch.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, okay. That's not ideal. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. But yes. Hi, TR Origins.
The mysterious...
Nazir her, I don't know if... That's the other thing. I don't really know if, like, the provided lunch food at, like, middle school or high school was, like, cheap or not, because my parents didn't pay for it. So, like, I brought lunch or I didn't get lunch. And, like, when I say I didn't get lunch, it's not that, like, I wasn't provided options. It's that I was being a petulant little shit of a 14-year-old, and I didn't want to eat what my mom had cooked or leftovers again, and so I would just refuse to take that to school, and then I would end up with, like, a couple of protein bars and my cup of coffee. And that was it. Like, that is entirely my own fault. I always had lunch options. I just chose not to take them sometimes.
See, I wish I could have had leftovers. I didn't even think about microwaves in classrooms until until high school. Prior to that, it was like, yeah, no, I don't want to eat sandwiches at lunch every day, so I'll just get the warm school lunch.
Bruh, I never got sandwiches. Half the time I just ate leftovers cold. My mom doesn't make sandwiches, point blank period, unless they're egg salad sandwiches. That's the only sandwich that she makes, like tuna salad and egg salad. Everything else would be like, I would just have, like, literally like a container of something, and I would have to either eat it cold or figure it out.
Zero Herrera for 130 quarts, 1 TMI. That's not bad at all.
That's not bad, especially because you also got a Cersei. I did, in fact, make my own version of Mystery Food X, though, Dakota Doyle. And I have continued to do that through my entire life. Because I will make absolutely cursed combinations just because I want to know what they would taste like. I mean, famously, I had a professor ban food from his classroom because of what I was eating during his class. And he wasn't wrong to do so. But yeah.
So, Sekhie, did you see the Avengers cast announcement today?
No, I did see the announcement that Avengers Doomsday, obviously inspired by Doctor Doom, was in production with the 30 chairs.
Oh,
empty.
Do you know how they went about? So that was the cast announcement. They had the back of every cast member's name on the chair. Do you know how they announced that though?
The photo was so small I couldn't see them.
But do you know how they went about announcing every single big cast member?
How?
They announced them one by one every 12 minutes for 5 hours. It's just a quiet camera pointed at the back of one of the chairs, and every 12 minutes, music would start playing, and it would slide slowly over to the next chair. It was horrible.
I was gonna say, the way that would make me so irrationally angry. The way that would, if I had to watch that, if I had chosen to watch that, the way that would have put me off the entire movie. Absolutely the fuck not. I refuse. Also, congrats, Dakota Doyle.
It was the dumbest way they could have possibly announced these cast members. Granted, some of the cast members are pretty cool. I'm pretty excited to see them in the movie. But also, fuck you for putting out that chair thing. Nobody wanted to watch that, and you just tortured the pundits that actually would, or the film commentators that actually were watching it.
Yeah, the poor bastards. Could not have been me. I am incapable of doing something like that. I did send you the new trailer, though, for an upcoming anime that I'm excited for.
Yes, you did, and I responded saying, oh my god, they're multiplying.
For context, I sent him the new, just-released trailer for May I Ask for One Final Thing, which is an upcoming... I think it's just historical fantasy. I actually don't think it's transmigration or back in time.
Well, I
think it's just a fantasy.
That's what we said about the one we just watched, or that we watched for the channel this last week. Without dropping the name, we were oh, it's not isekai or transmigration.
Yeah.
When we were watching the trailer for our discussion prior. We did.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's fair. Oof, Zero Herrera. Yeah, no, this one is not, though. I'm 99% certain, because I've read this one through what was available when it first started coming out, when it had less than 5 or 6 chapters. Exactly, Zero Herrera. It's hilarious. I'm so excited.
Story.
What?
What about a new Arthurian story for a writer Merlin? The fuck?
Do I have the wrong...
Okay, now I'm curious. Did something just drop while we were out discussing? Because I've not been...
Possibly, I don't know.
I don't think so. That's
Arc Rogue, we don't need a new Yu-Gi-Oh anime. Original Yu-Gi-Oh was peak Yu-Gi-Oh, and everything since has been lower quality.
Look, I actually like 5Ds a lot, so fuck off.
Original Yu-Gi-Oh or bust.
I'm not seeing anything on a new thing for FGO.
What?
Oh,
Okay.
A new actual Arthurian story.
Yes, I did see that. Yeah, I read that when that article came out. I think it came out a couple of days ago. But yeah. Yeah, Zero Herrera, exactly. It's a villainess story, but it's just a fantasy. It's just good. Congrats, Dahori. I think it's pretty hard to be totally normal about reading through Berserk. I've got a friend who has read through Berserk, and he is incapable of being normal about it. Completely incapable. Unable. Does not work.
I've never actually watched GX. I've seen 5Ds and I've watched like the first 4 or 5 episodes of the original, but I've never seen GX.
I watched Zexel and Arc V on accident.
I don't know anything about those ones.
It was not good. OG is the best for me, and that's just because I read those as manga, and I watched the anime, and I do collect Yu-Gi-Oh cards, but primarily the ones from the original series.
Okay, but there's a bit of a difference between OG Yu-Gi-Oh anime and OG Yu-Gi-Oh manga. Because OG Yu-Gi-Oh
Yes,
manga
they're
is
very different.
a very, very different beast. OG
Yep.
Yu-Gi-Oh anime is like not even telling the entire story.
You know what? Actually, Arc Rogue, that would be interesting to me. I would like to see more about the history behind various cards. That would be pretty cool. Yeah, I know there's a lot of Berserk references everywhere. It's one of those things where, like, I know it's really big, but, like, I've just never... It's just not something that I've gotten into over the years. It's a little too gritty for me, I think. I don't typically do some of the more gritty stuff.
I do. It's sitting on my to-read list. The problem is I was like, oh no, the author passed away. And like I respect that the author was really great at his craft. The problem is I have a hard time getting invested in stories I know are just going to get canceled early. I've heard that they have someone else picking it up. I don't know. I don't know how that's...
Somebody else finished it.
Did they finish it?
I think so.
I thought it was... I thought they were either picked it up and it's still not been continued, but we know who's picking it up, or they picked it up and it's ongoing.
I thought it was finished.
But I do know Berserk is like very, like, for Japanese fantasy media, Berserk is very, very influential. Like, Cloud's Buster Sword is just like a ripoff of one of the swords from Berserk, to my understanding.
Okay, it is ongoing. For some reason, I had thought it was finished. Interesting.
Like, maybe I'll give it a look again once it's, like, finished, but even then, I need to see how the fan base thinks about the ending, because if the fan base, like, the ending kind of sucks, I'm like, well, I don't want to read it just to not like where the next author takes it. Maybe I'll read it, though. Maybe I'll read it.
Yeah, but I think, from what I heard, and chat, correct me if I'm wrong, from what I've heard, the new author is just following the story outline that's already been decided. He's not creating new content for it.
I mean, that makes sense. But even still, like, writing quality between the two authors will differ, and even if you're following the same outline, doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna write it as well as the other author would have. So who knows? Who knows? Not that I know. I don't know Berserk. I've not read the new author. It's not a commentary on the new author. That's just a commentary on when people pick up outlines of stories that are given to them. Lest we not forget about the Ballad of Dave and Dan.
What?
A Song of Ice and Fire. Game of Thrones. Supposedly, they had the outline for the ending.
God. Nothing has ever irritated me more in this world than that fucking series. I mean, that's a lie. Things have irritated me more, but, like... It irritates me.
Yeah, Tiamat's launched, so while you're not rolling for her, you are going to start seeing her in your recommendation tab, because she's just a popular servant.
I did. I also saw that regular Kets is on Raid Up.
Yes. Back to back. Yeah, or what happened with Ruby. You can tell, like, they knew the direction Ruby should go where they took it, but then the writing quality just was not there when they continued it in that direction.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think, as like, I haven't really been invested in... No, go to bed. Go to bed. I haven't really been invested in an anime series that had something like that. Not to say that I haven't read a series that had that happen, but I haven't been invested in a series that had that happen. Because the only two series I've read that I think I remember that happening to are technically DBZ, but like DBZ is its own can of worms and it's largely irrelevant. Like that's its own can of worms. And I am not as interested in the post Z stuff as I was in the original series and Z. So I kind of stopped reading. Like I only watched GT and I haven't watched any of Super. And then there's another old series where something similar happened. Oh, and I had both of them in my head a second ago and I can't remember what it is now. Fudge nuggets. Okay, no. Similar, but not exactly the same. I don't read Boruto, so I don't care that it's no longer Naruto's author in charge. So in that case, you still have, like, the author is still alive, but he's not writing it 100% anymore.
A wild Vorn just appeared in the chat.
Oh, look! There's a Vorn! Yeah, well, Wario, Log Horizon, at least it's tax evasion. We all said that about Apothecary Diaries, but at least it's just tax evasion.
I mean, it's not like... Look, a lot of our fans are Fate fans. It's not like Ufotable didn't just get caught for, what was it, tax evasion or tax fraud not
they?
Not that long ago, or yeah, something like that.
Congrats. I just finished watching Apothecary Diaries with a friend. Well, up to what's currently out. Also, I'm so excited. I'm so glad that there's one more episode of Solo Leveling this season. Oh my god. NikNak, I really need you to watch season 2.
But I don't... Am I gonna like it any more than I did the original manhwa?
I think so.
I mean, it's always the question when it comes to talking about.
Look, if you liked the anime of season 1 a little bit better because of what you thought it was doing with other characters, then I think you will like season 2 better than the manhwa. Because it continues the trend and it does not flop on it.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I don't really plan to watch it prior to putting it in the hat, though, because I know you're going to put it in the hat.
Yeah, but that's going to be forever. I have to wait till next season. I've got another fairy tale this season. I mean, actually, I guess that's the decision I have to make. Do I make you watch another fairy tale or do I make you watch another Solo Leveling at this point? Because, oh boy. With the last episode coming out this Saturday, I can now. Let's see. I'm sure the arcs of Dragon Ball Super are not... Yeah, no, I haven't seen Daima, I haven't seen Super. So I watched Dragon Ball Z first, and then Z Kai. Then I went back and watched Dragon Ball, and then I watched GT. And GT was the last thing I watched. And technically, I read Dragon Ball and then Dragon Ball Z after watching all the animes. That was the last thing I read. So I've not technically read past the end of Z, and I have not watched past the end of GT. Not to say that I haven't heard about everything going on, but I'm no longer watching it. I just can't do it. I don't have it in me. It's not the thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I've somewhat grown out of liking Dragon Ball to that extent. Yeah. Which had Atelier I saw the anime for. Honestly, Zerher, I don't think it's leaving that much behind, having read the novel and the manhwa and kind of like seeing the adaptation. I actually think it's pretty fucking great at this point. I've seen the old Brawly movie, I've seen all the old movies that came out before GT. I have not seen. Wait, I did watch the one with the weird cat god thing.
I can't remember if I watched Slime Season 3 or not. I know I watched Season 2. I don't remember if I watched Season 3.
Oh, I definitely haven't caught up with Season 3. It's next on my to catch up with list.
Yep, Tacos, I am definitely waking up for that Nintendo Direct tomorrow. Oh,
New
boy.
game announcements on Nintendo?
So, it's a bit of an interesting situation. Next week, they're doing the full blowout of all the new, the launch lineup for the Switch 2. But then for tomorrow, they announced the final Nintendo Switch Direct, which is their sort of presentation, but how all the video game companies do their gaming presentations online now. Nintendo is the first to do that, and that's the Nintendo Directs. So I have no idea what they're going to announce because they're already planning a second Direct for next week. So anything they announce now is the end of console lifespan stuff. So, but insiders are saying there's one big community shaking announcement that's not necessarily a Nintendo game.
And correct me if I'm wrong, I think we discussed this separately before, but didn't the Xbox announce that their next upcoming console was going to have Steam access?
No.
So you'd be able to play...
They haven't announced that. No, that would be big.
Oh.
It might be a rumor on the insider mill, but no, that's not something Xbox has announced.
Oh, okay. I thought I'd heard something about it, so maybe it is a big rumor going around, because I saw a lot of people talking about
the
it
announcement.
online.
Oh, that's fascinating. I'm going to say it's not Smash Brothers. That's a lot of people's first thought with Sakurai, because if it were Smash Brothers, that's Switch 2. There ain't no way they're putting a new Smash on the original Switch. But if it's Sakurai retweeting it, we might be getting that Kid Icarus Uprising port that people have been asking for, which I'm excited for. I love that game. My personal hope is that the earth-shattering announcement, Xenosaga.
Okay, I see what happened.
What happened?
Apparently Microsoft did a sneak peek reveal of a new Xbox UI, and it showed Steam accessible on the UI, and then they removed the image immediately.
It could be
so I guess they're trying. They might be trying to see if they can get it to work.
I would caution that, though, against that assumption, though, because that could also just be a case of this is their in-development UI for a potential, I don't know if it's a future console or a future playtesting, but it's not using the original Xbox Series X software. So for testing that, they need to, they have Steam, just because you can, if it's running, say, on Linux or on Windows, which it's probably running on Windows, it would be fully Steam compatible, and any games on there, they can stress test a new console off of a Steam library.
Either way.
Fire Emblem 4 remake. Oh my god, I would kill for a Fire Emblem 4 remake. That's one of the ones I really want to play, but I've never found the time nor willpower to port or to patch.
I have virtually no input on Nintendo games because I just don't use the Switch very often.
Sorry, that's
regrettably still.
That's the big gaming news right now, because tomorrow is Nintendo Direct, which is gaming Christmas usually.
Yeah. I think for me, Switch is just never... Because A, I didn't buy a Switch, and then B, Switch doesn't discount stuff enough for me to be happy with it. 9 times out of 10, anything I want that's available on Switch is usually also available on either PlayStation or Steam, and I can get it cheaper.
See, the thing is, though, you'll notice I almost never talk about gaming franchises outside maybe a Persona here and there that's on anything else. It's because a lot of the games I play are Nintendo games. So, I know all of the Nintendo franchises. I play almost all of the major ones in some capacity.
Zero Herrera, I get you. Technically, before NikNak gave me his old Switch, my last console was a Nintendo DS. I mean, I think I did buy a 3DS off a friend, but I think I just used it twice. And it's sitting in a drawer. Yeah.
Fire Emblem, I would kill. That's another report I would kill for. I need them to bring the 3DS games to Switch because those games are my Fire Emblem like childhood games at this point. I would love to see even like both 12 and 13 ported to Switch. 12 is Awakening, if I remember right? True, Fate is a gaming franchise. But like as a gaming franchise, my experience has been mostly documented on the channel. I've played pretty much every Fate game I've played on the channel at this point. Prior to that, I was anime only and FGO only. And then I played Samurai Remnant for like one playthrough off channel before streaming it.
Yeah, Zero, I'm gonna be honest, the only reason I could justify a PlayStation 5 is because A, it was a birthday gift to myself, and B, it is the only console I've ever spent money on. It's kind of hard to be like, ooh, that's a lot of money on consoles when it's literally over the course of my lifetime, just that one purchase.
Potential of Fate getting a game for the Switch 2, pretty high with Extra Record that's probably launching on the original Switch, which means on Switch 2. Now, if you mean besides Extra Record, or what gets shown off tomorrow, next to no chance at all, because Fate doesn't like putting itself in the Western Direct, and on the Japanese Directs, it tends to just be included in the sizzle reel. So 12 is New Mystery?
Awakening.
It's New Mystery.
Yeah.
I have that one. I actually did find the patched version of that, and I put it onto a what's called a flash cart for my DS, which lets me play, like, you can load games onto a micro SD and play them on the original DS hardware. If I ever play it, that's probably how I'm going to play it, but the problem is I never beat Shadow Dragon, and I never really felt like skipping straight to New Mystery. And then I kind of fell out of Fire Emblem. I don't know why, but I do want to try getting back to it, because I do enjoy that gameplay style a lot. Tacos, Nintendo they better not split Fire Emblem Fates, and like when they eventually re-release it, that better fucking not be split into three versions. That was bullshit when they did it the first time. It'd be bullshit if they did it again. I would personally storm Nintendo's headquarters. I swear to fucking God. Tsukihime Red Gardens?
Do you not want Red Gardens?
It's not coming. Doesn't exist.
Uh...
No, it's the other half of the Tsukihime remake. Right now, technically, they've only released half of it. The other half is literally, like... Because in the original, like, there's, like, 5 or 6 routes to it. But in the remake, they only had 2, and they promised the other... Like, the remaining routes plus a new route would be adapted or be remade into a second game or a second visual novel. And that visual novel just has not released yet at all. And we've heard nothing about it since its announcement, basically. Because Nasu's currently tied up with FGO.
Fair.
Yeah, New Year's is the best time to expect Red Garden. My personal hope for, like, my like, would, and y'all, if you've seen me talking on stream about Nintendo games, my personal, like, hope for tomorrow that's not going to happen, 0 chance, is Xenosaga. I want them to remaster the Xenosaga trilogy. But that's just because I've been a complete Xeno head for the last... Sekhie, how long ago was our junior year of high school?
Nine years.
Yeah, I've been almost a decade as a Xeno head.
It hurt my soul. Fuck. No. No. Go. Go. Go to bed. Go to bed. Sorry. New puppy that I'm watching. So periodically you might hear me tell her to go to bed. Because she's supposed to be sleeping right now. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go take 2 minutes, put them out to nap, in their sleep spot.
Okay.
And then I can always take them out again later if I think they need to go back to the bathroom.
All right, so it's just me, guys. Let's see. What can I leak about the channel that Sekhie won't let me leak normally? Nah, I'm not going to do it. It's like, I want everyone to know. Like, I don't know. I actually don't know anything about Xenosaga. Pretty much nothing. I know, like, what fun facts get brought up whenever they talk about the connections between Xenosaga and the Xenoblade series. I do own the first Xenosaga episode on PS2. I started playing it, just it wasn't very convenient for me to keep playing it, and I think I got stuck somewhere. And I didn't feel like going back and figuring it out, just because PS2 was not the most convenient console to pull out when I was trying to play it. Because this is post, like, Switch is already out when I tried playing it. I found Xenosaga Episode 1, like, at a GameStop at one point. Yeah, I do know that Xenosaga is, like, got a lot of biblical tie-ins. I know Xenogears is even more biblical tie-ins. Like, I know, like, the further back you go with Tetsuya Takahashi into the Xeno series, the more, like, crazy and obvious it becomes that it's Bible fan fiction. But he's largely ditched a lot of that for the more recent entries for the Xenoblade games. Though they still have the references, like Yaldabaoth and Xenoblade 1.
Okay, I'm back. Catch up with Chad. Jesus. Oh, did we get announced for Soul Leveling Season 3, Vorn?
Does it need an announcement? It's coming. Everyone knows it's coming.
You say that. Some things have not gotten further seasons that should have recently.
Look, Tacos, Bamco's always been kind of liberal about letting their franchises be done by other companies and being very collaborative with Nintendo. I genuinely think...
Bandai Namco's fucking great.
I genuinely think Xenosaga Remaster Trilogy is a matter of time. It's a matter of when, not if. Yeah, ReZero Season 4 did get announced. The rumors were saying ReZero Season 4 was just... Originally, it was Season 3 second half. But then they decided to separate it out to Season 4 to make it much lighter on the production side of things. Make it a lot more humane. Which is a good thing, I think. It also means Season 4 is going to have a faster turnaround than both Season 2 and Season 3 did. Dear God, that was long.
Cold tea. Just chugged the last of mine because it was no longer appealing.
I just finished Season 3 today. I gotta say, I'm not that big a fan of Season 3 of ReZero. I thought it felt too much like a shonen battle arc to me.
See ya, Frozen Lion. No, Vorn, I'm torn, Vorn, because I have one submission left this season, and I either put in more Fairy Tail or I put in the rest of Solo Leveling. And I'm really liking Solo Leveling Season 2. But, like, to be honest, the only person that we're really watching it for who doesn't know what's happening in Season 2 is Realm.
Personally, I'm backing Fairy Tail here.
Really? You want to watch a non-canon, filler-only Fairy Tail arc that's 20 episodes over a 13 episodes Solo Leveling submission?
You see, it's a lot more novel to watch something I don't know is going to bore me that bores me than to watch something that I know is going to bore me that bores me. You know?
You absolute bastard.
And tell you're an anime fan who wants more. Yeah. I don't think... Digimon has never registered on Sekhie's radar gaming-wise, I don't think.
Digimon's not really on my radar point blank. Just, like, I've seen like some of the original anime, and that's really it.
The games have like they have a bit of a cult following, like separate from the anime itself, but I'm not entrenched enough in that to know enough about it or to be following it too much. I will say the new Digimon game, I did see a trailer for it in, what was it, like the last PlayStation presentation, or was it the last? It wasn't the last Nintendo Direct. It couldn't have been. I think it was PlayStation, and it actually does look pretty good. Like the graphics look good. It looks interesting, but I'm not in the weeds of the Digimon gaming franchise.
Yeah. It's just, yeah, you see, you say that, Tacos, but like, I have not seen proof of that. Like, I'm so far outside of like, if I say I'm not a Pokemon kid because I was a Yu-Gi-Oh kid, I'm not a Digimon kid because I didn't watch Pokemon and I didn't watch Yu-Gi-Oh, but I think I caught like Monsuno and Huntic on TV when I was a kid once or twice on like Cartoon Network. Like, Digimon has never been in my wheelhouse at all. And not for any bad reason. It's just never been in my wheelhouse.
When we were growing up, to watch Digimon, you had to be watching like the Disney Channel, which I don't even know if you guys had that one, because that one was, unlike Cartoon Network, Disney was not a common cable channel.
Yeah.
At least not Disney XD. Disney XD was the one I think they put Digimon reruns on while we were growing up.
And I didn't have Disney XD till high school.
So yeah, I will say, like, from my memory growing up as a child, like, I never cared for that first season of Digimon we covered on the channel, but it sits there in my memory. But I do distinctly remember liking Digimon, like the other series that would rerun, a lot more than I like Pokemon, which is interesting anime. Only anime wise, obviously.
Hang on, you're welcome, Dakota Doyle. You're welcome. You know Huntic is in the hat, Dakota Doyle?
Look, Tacos.
I think.
Oh, sorry, Sekhie.
I was gonna say, growing up, I normally had access to like, I think we had regular Cartoon Network, regular Disney, and regular Nickelodeon. And then in high school, our cable package changed, and then I had access to Disney XD and like Nicktoons, and that's when I caught those few scattered episodes of like Pokemon Black and White, like randomly on Saturday mornings.
Funnily enough, yeah. Black and White was Cartoon Network while we were growing up, and reruns ran on Disney here and there.
That's what I mean. I caught them as reruns.
So for Cyber Sleuth, Tacos, I mean, it looked. Is Cyber Sleuth Cyber Sleuth? I don't know if it's the new one or not. But I'm always looking at the games that are currently coming out when I have holes in my, like, right now I'm not going to have a hole in my play schedule probably for the rest of the year, because Xenoblade is probably going to take me right up until Pokemon Legends ZA comes out, excluding the possibility of Extra Record releasing this year, and I think it's early next year. Or is it this year? I don't know. Excluding the possibility of something else like Holotoroxia as well. There's a lot on the gaming radar that Xenoblade is going to push right up into. So I don't think I'm going to have any room to try the new Digimon game when it comes out, most likely.
I don't think I've seen Cup C. Doodles TR Origins. I don't think I don't know.
All right, I'm gonna take my union mandate. I'm gonna take my union mandated break real quickly. So I'm going to mute myself and turn off my camera, and you get to entertain chat for a bit.
Oh, lovely. Okay, fuck off then. See, and then I also didn't. So Adult Swim, when I was growing up, it always showed like all the Adult Swim anime stuff showed it like from like 11:30 p.m. to like 4 in the morning. So I was not allowed to catch that because we only had like a family communal TV in the living room. So like once my parents went to bed, that TV had to be turned off, because if it was on, my dad would come downstairs yelling about how it was keeping him up. And I didn't really have my own laptop till high school. Because in middle school, my dad broke my laptop screen on accident, and he wouldn't replace it. And so I had to plug my laptop into the screen of my mom's old dinosaur PC. So like I don't know, it was just interesting as to what I did get to see and what I didn't. Which is incidentally why I hadn't really done any gaming. Like basically the entire history of my gaming experience has been essentially chronicled on the channel. The only thing I played before the channel, before I started streaming on the channel to any amount of time, was Baldur's Gate. And then obviously I've shown Baldur's Gate on the channel as well as Trade Winds and Dark Parables, which were really the only two game series I played before that. So yeah, I don't know. I missed on a lot of that stuff that like premiered like when I was growing up because it was just it premiered at times when I wasn't allowed to watch TV or like times when I wasn't home because I did competitive figure skating. So I was gone like most of the day. I didn't get back till like late at night, and then it was like eat, do your homework, and go to bed.
I'm back from my union mandated break.
Yeah, I think I caught some Adult Swim when I was in college. I think that was the only time I ever managed to catch some Adult Swim stuff because it just premiered too late at night for me to normally. And not to say that I wasn't up during that time, but I was not allowed to be like in the living room watching anime loudly at that time of night because we had the family TV and I did not have a personal TV or computer in my room.
Yes, Dakota Doyle.
Yeah.
I love me a fishing mini game. You enjoy that fishing in Final Fantasy XIV.
Yeah, Tacos. I wasn't allowed to turn the TV on in the mornings before school. So I didn't get to catch that. I do. Vorn is right. Minecraft is the only thing that I play now that I haven't really shown on the channel. I think. Well, no, I mean, there's one or two games that I've played with like my friends in the last year, like Palia and Elder Scrolls Morrowind.
You finished like 75% of Baldur's Gate before you started playing it on the channel.
I mentioned that before, yeah. But yeah, there's not a whole ton besides. Morrowind is also relatively... When I say like games I've played like off stream, but like still within the last like year, the Morrowind and like Minecraft. And I played Palia for like 3 hours, and Winterwolf has me playing a co-op game of Aelan Tale Tavern, which is super fun. NikNak, you should totally get it. It'd be great to play on stream together. Or just together in general, since we haven't managed to get you into the Minecraft realm.
Eventually, I don't know what's up with that. I've given my username a few times, and Winterwolf just says it's not working.
Yeah, well, this last time you put it in.
No, this last time I put the wrong username. I put my old one, the one I was using before the Minecraft account integration, or the Microsoft account integration. But it's slightly different now, and it just didn't work when I tried to put it in. So, I don't know. We'll have to get on a Zoom call or something, or a Discord call.
Oh, that's pretty cool, Zero Horror. I do remember there used to be like a fishing game and like a fishing web browser game in Gaia Online. Let me throw us all back to Gaia Online. I think I still have my account on Gaia Online. And I do in fact have an account that has a bunch of items that would break the economy again. Like, I have all those, like, super rare, expensive things in, like, multiple... Like, I have the old, like, Naruto clothing set in Gaia Online where you need, like, 8 of the same kunai weapon.
I'll be honest, like, even like you say that you don't do any much gaming outside the channel, but I'll be real. The channel takes up a lot of my gaming time now as well. At this point, my games off the channel are FGO, and then sometimes I can manage an extra game off the channel. And it usually is a Switch game because those are easy enough for me to play, like, just doing something else, like, just casually.
See, 9 times out of 10, when I'm doing something casually and then multitasking, it's between reading and watching something at the same time. Like, I'll be reading on my phone, but also watching a TV show in the background. And I do spend a lot of my time now editing. Like a fair amount of my free time goes into editing, so. Which, good and bad, good and bad.
I mean, for
Yeah.
very specific reasons, I think you just have a lot more free time than I do, though, so it'll be interesting to see that balance later on.
Yeah. I don't know, I think... I got a feeling when I finally get back to working a 9 to 5, my sleep schedule is going to start resembling college again.
Or you'll have to start passing more editing to me.
Nah. I mean, you're already editing, like, a decent chunk of the
I
regular
edit my
podcast
own
episodes.
podcast episodes so far, and occasionally
I
the
make
ones you
you edit-
don't want to do.
Yeah, I make you edit the stuff I don't want to.
You need to just start passing me just, like, things that fit onto the Google Drive, like shorter off the shelves or more podcast episodes.
Most of the off-the-shelves probably wouldn't fit onto the Google Drive right now. Although, we'll discuss that. I think I want to upgrade our storage in the Google Drive, but that's neither here nor there
Thank
right
you.
now.
Finally!
What?
You've been so persistent that we are never upgrading our storage on that Google Drive. And that's
'Cause
driven me
I
up a
don't
wall.
wanna
Because
pay
even
for it.
$1 on that Google Drive significantly increases how much space we have.
'Cause I don't want to pay for it. This is...
I almost
I'm
snuck in
a
and paid
cheap-
for it myself, cheap bastard.
You know what the worst part is? I think I am I think the problem why I didn't want to pay it on our Google is because I am paying for the 100 gigabytes on the one that I shared with the podcast I used to run with a mutual friend. I am paying for it there, and I haven't canceled it yet, and I need to.
Yeah, you need to. That podcast hasn't recorded a new episode in how long?
That podcast also, I've removed most of the episodes off YouTube for very specific reasons. Dakota Doyle, the updates video, I finished editing that this morning, complete with adding in a masterpiece.
Oh, look, it's after
near
9
the
o'clock.
end of the video. So it officially was finished as of about 9 hours ago. It's exported, it's handbraked.
The
It'll
game is
start
not going to let me
uploading
in, is it?
tomorrow.
Oh, no, it should let me in. It should let me in. That streams tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah, it'll let me in. It let me in.
And it is sitting... Jesus fucking Christ, NikNak, am I allowed to talk?
No.
Asshole.
No, speak when spoken to, woman.
That was... I have words about that, and they're not nice enough for me to say on stream. They're not. Jesus fucking Christ. But yeah, it's 4 hours and 35 minutes. So it's going to take a while to upload. So hopefully I will be able to get timestamps into it as well. I'm going to try on timestamps. They might be a little bit more general, not as specific. But yeah, to try to get some timestamps in. Yeah, truly. Truly, Dohorio.
I promise
that's
there is
fair
not a
service.
NikNak misogyny arc coming.
I don't know. That comment came out pretty quickly.
Look, if I drop stupid comments like that too often, you would stop believing it's fake.
I was gonna say. Fuck, you interrupted me again, and now I don't remember what I was gonna say. Oh, it was fate related. I remember now. Is that 1, 2, 3 gut punch of missing Juge, then immediately having the Aussie go live unexpectedly, and then not having any courts to roll on Aussie yet because I wasn't planning to roll for him till August, and then as soon as the Aussie banner disappeared, a fucking Cats popped up. Oh my god, like a gut punch.
Can I try to make you feel better?
What?
So, like, that Zuge roll, the Zuge rolling didn't hurt you at all. You know why?
Why?
The odds are the same to get Zuge or Ozzy, and you didn't get Zuge anyways.
Yeah, but still.
It's like you didn't actually lose
Regrettable.
anything rolling on Zuge. You just weren't going to get that 5-star within the amount of quartz you had.
I know. But
Now, the Odysseus banner, that's where you need to start analyzing how much you regret your life choices.
Hey, I got my Odysseus.
But do you regret that over missing Zuge? And you probably would have got Zuge if you used the quartz on Ode to Zuge.
Not necessarily, because I used one set of tickets and I think I did 3 draws. I did more draws on Zuge. I did 5 on him total.
But you were going to get 1 between the 3, and you got Odysseus. Here I am, like, I'm going to make you feel better about it, and then I immediately transition into trying to make you question your choices.
Look, I'm not sad that I got Odysseus. I am happy that I got Odysseus because it just happened to be so serendipitous, and I do really think I really love Odysseus. Like, he was definitely going to go into my top 10, anyways. He would have been in my goals for the next time that he popped up. Like, obviously I didn't know about him when I made my plan for this year to focus on like Ozzy and Juge, but like if I had known, I would have rolled on him regardless, I think. Cuz I just like him that much. And I happened to get him, and I'm not mad about that. Do I know how to use him? No. Is that going to be a lot harder than I think Juge or Ozzy will be? Yes. Will I persevere? Possibly. Yeah. So I don't know. It's just one of those things where I'm like,
So, chat, there was a part of me this last weekend that thought about trying to stream the Anime Japan JP streams just because they were at reasonable times at night for us. And I'm glad I didn't, because Jack all got announced.
Disgusting.
But in the announcement stream, there was an announcement that the next chapter of FGO is dropping April 30th. And there's like a small part of me that's like, I should take that day off work and just stream it that day. Then there's another part of me that's like, no, that's a stupid idea.
I'm gonna be on the side of I'm gonna be on that angel side that's going, no, yeah, that's a stupid idea. But then again, what do I know? I mean, I'm gonna be honest. My only recent gaming news is that we got announced when Indiana Jones was coming for PlayStation finally, and now I'm seriously debating whether or not I'm gonna buy the fancy, stupid deluxe version.
Look, I'm not gonna question life choice about the deluxe versions. I've got 4 right next to me right now.
It comes with a globe, with storage and an artifact and a pretty steel case.
Wait, I've got 5 next to me right now, not 4. 5.
But it's so expensive. I don't think any of yours have been that expensive.
Definitely not the 2 visual novels. Those were only like, what, $20-$30 more? I don't remember how much Xenoblades cost me, but I don't think it was that much more either. Samurai Remnants, I don't remember how much that one was. I think you are right. That one is more expensive than all of those, but I've definitely spent my fair share of money on extra deluxe versions.
Yeah, Tacos, here's the thing. I don't think the digital deluxe is worth it for Indiana Jones right now because we have no announcement date on that DLC. Like, the game itself is $60, and they want another... No, the game is $70, and they want another $30 for a DLC that doesn't exist. If you buy the digital deluxe, I don't think that's not even a deal. Like, that's nothing. But the physical deluxe comes with a lot of shit, but it's $200. Or like $189. It's so much money. Oh. What do you mean, Vorn? What do you mean? I think it's $189 if I'm correct. $189.99. So like with tax and shipping, it would be $200. And it's really, like I said, you get the game, you get the Steelbox, you have all the digital deluxe content, and then you also get like a journal, the Steelbox, a replica of the artifact from the game, and like a full-size globe that has hidden storage inside of it, where I think you can put the game and stuff. So it's really fucking cool. But holy shit, the price! Yeah, Dahor. It is with, so it's only like $80. It's only like it's like the cost of the game once over again, because right now the game with the digital deluxe is I think $99. And this is $189. So it comes with the game, all the digital deluxe content, and then all the physical stuff. So it's like, you know.
I hear you, Zero Herrera, on the that physical over digital if you can. I actually agree. I do prefer to buy physical games. It feels nicer to have that in your hand, have the case for display if you want to use it like that. But I prefer if like on games that I'm just looking for like casually. I typically only buy the digital version if it's on sale. But what gets me digitally over physically is if I want to play a game day one and I'm like really like ooh, I want to play that day one. Like I want to play that like 9 p.m. the day before so I can play it like like as early as humanly possible. That's not really possible with physical versions, especially with Nintendo right now, because Nintendo right now used to be, I can order my physical copy from Amazon and get it delivered day of. That's not a thing anymore because Amazon accidentally leaked a bunch of Nintendo cartridges early, so Nintendo refuses to let Amazon have pre-release copies to distribute anymore. They have to wait till the release date. So can't pre-order there anymore, and no one offers shipping that'll get to me the day of launch. I have to wait till usually the day after or 2 days later, which is bullshit.
Well, and then the other thing is, so technically, I've never bought a physical deluxe of a game, right? But the thing is, I want to buy a physical deluxe of a different game that would also cost me, I think, $179. And it's the Baldur's Gate, and I wanted to buy the Baldur's Gate physical deluxe edition to get like all the stuff that comes with it, because I have the digital deluxe on Steam, which was bought for me as a gift, right? Also, NikNak, your camera flashing is getting worse.
Yeah, I noticed.
Significantly worse. So like I want to buy the Baldur's Gate, but the problem is I want to buy it through Larian, and for some reason Larian has been out of their US PS5 games, like physical copies, for months. It's still flashing green. I think you've probably got either too many USBs plugged in or the connection isn't taking properly. But it shouldn't be a huge issue. Hey, Jens. So yeah, I'm sitting on really wanting that Baldur's Gate copy, but then also like, you know.
Yeah, they did buff Arjuna right after I got done shitting all over him to Sekhie. I actually don't know how good that buff is. I remember that. I don't know how good that buff is. I haven't looked at the buff yet.
Which, on that note, I'm just going to check to see if the Baldur's Gate 3 Deluxe Edition is back in stock on PlayStation yet.
I hope one of those 4-star assassins is a consort you. Can you still buy the physical deluxe edition of Mihoyo? I thought those were sold out mostly.
Oh. You know what? Actually, I might go ahead and buy. Okay, I was wrong about the price on Baldur's Gate. It's actually, I think it's just $80, not $180. I thought it was too much for it to be $180, but I wasn't entirely sure. So it is just $80.
Oh, there's an SSR Berserker buff. I didn't see that there was an SSR Berserker buff. Oh, that one's dangerous too. Because if there's an SSR Berserker buff, it could like dramatically change the balancing of the game. Like even every time an SSR Berserker is buffed, there's a risk.
Let's see. Interesting. Anyways, so that puts me. Yeah, the PlayStation 5 physical edition of Baldur's Gate is still not available. The thing is, I want to get it on PlayStation. Well, I did. Now that crossplay is coming out soon, I don't really need it on. The only reason I wanted to get it on PlayStation was to be able to play it with a couple of friends who didn't have it on PC. But now that crossplay is coming out, that's not really a limit anymore. I might just buy the Steam edition. I might just buy the PC edition in physical. I didn't spend money on my original copy, so I won't feel like I'm losing out on buying 2 copies for the same,
Look, I buy copies for separate devices. When I buy games more than once, it's like, oh, I'm buying it on the Switch digitally, I'm buying it on the PS4 physically.
But I didn't buy it on the Steam originally. It was gifted to me digitally.
What is the
what
does the physical copy of the PC Steam one come with? Like, does it have the game or is it just a download code?
No. So it comes with the download code, and then you also get, let's see, the poster, the patches, the stickers, the map, the soundtracks on CD, and a game box in the style of the original first 2 game boxes.
I gotta say, like, just in terms of a value, technically the PlayStation one's just going to be the better value for you, even if, because you already own the PC one, and the PlayStation one's at least resellable.
But NikNak. They come with the exact same physical goodies, and the PlayStation 5 physical has not been stocked in over a year for US market. Like, I have had the reminder on since over a year ago. It has not restocked. It's available in Europe, but it's not available in the US. So, like, I literally cannot buy it on PlayStation as a physical. I can't. It's simply not available. It's available on Xbox and PC, but not PlayStation physically. You could buy it digitally on PlayStation, but I want a physical copy for the goodies. This is the struggle. And I don't know why it's been out of stock for over a year.
Well, those special editions aren't usually restocked that late into the game's lifespan, but the other ones are still getting like stocked. That just might be a demand thing because PlayStation is probably the biggest console it's on right now.
But because it's on Xbox too.
PlayStation is has a significantly bigger base than an Xbox does.
Yeah, but I can't even get added to like a pre-order list. Like, there isn't even a pre-order list. There's just an out of stock, notify me when it comes back into stock button. That's it.
Well,
and it's been like that for a year. And you've been able to buy the PC and Xbox editions this entire time. It's the exact same deluxe edition across all 3. You get the exact same things. Like, there's not a difference between them other than the fact that the games themselves are for different devices. I mean, honestly, at this point, I might just buy it. Because I have no use for it on Xbox, so I might just buy it on PC. And deal, Because the thing is, I have not spent my money on the game yet, technically. So I don't feel at a loss buying the game once. Especially with crossplay coming out, I might not end up getting it on PlayStation at all. Because I don't really need it on PlayStation with crossplay. It's kind of irrelevant. But, like, I've been waiting a long time and it's not restocked.
Give it a little bit more time, because I'd wonder if they'd restock all the editions if they start it, like, because the Switch 2 is coming soon, and if the Switch 2 gets a Baldur's Gate release and they decide to reprint the special edition for Switch 2, it's possible they restock the special editions across the board, or they have new shipments of them across the board, since they'd be reprinting the items anyways. I don't know for certain that that would happen, but if they decided to do that, that would probably be the next and maybe last chance for it to get restocked. Because the reason for PlayStation and Xbox just because Xbox having stock still is just because they just probably haven't sold out. Xbox is just not that popular for games, especially physical releases. And Steam, because it's just a Steam code, a lot of people look at that and they're like, yeah, that loses the point of buying it physically anyways.
No, with the PC one, you get the game discs. It's not a code.
Oh, it's a disc?
It's the actual game discs for a disk drive.
Oh, I thought it was just the code. Okay, no, never mind. If it's the PC
No,
one, then
no.
Yeah.
No, you get the actual physical discs.
You
All
know,
three of them.
If it's got a physical disc for the game, then yeah, the PC version's still a good version to get. That's like if it didn't have the disc, I'd be like, because that's one of the scams some people do is they're like, oh, here's your physical version, and it's just a code in a box.
No, Larian, it's the physical discs. The thing is, I don't know if there's a difference in region locking between the US and the EU. Otherwise, I would just order the EU version. I've not asked anyone about that. You know?
To my understanding, region locking has been kind of a thing of the past this console generation, and it's pretty easy to figure out. You just look online, PlayStation 5, region lock, yes or no. I could do that right now for you.
Yeah, it might be. I will say the notification bar has changed to it no longer says out of stock, notify for restock. It does say now, currently in production, sign up for the email list. So maybe they'll be getting a new stock of them sometime soon.
So here's good news for you on
Possibly.
top of that. The PS5 is not a region lock console. So your PS5 copy from EU would still be compatible. I knew the Switch was, but the PS5 I wasn't 100% sure on. But also that restock, that might be because they're going to reprint the special edition stuff for when the Switch version launches.
It might be. I'll give it like a couple more months because the PC one has not sold out at all. So I'll give it like maybe till my birthday. And then if it's not restocked by my birthday, I will just buy the PC version with the discs. But yeah, no, if it was just going to give me a code, I wouldn't be as invested.
Code in a box is stupid. Codes in boxes
Yeah.
are dumb.
No. This is like a full set. And so much more affordable than the Indiana Jones one. at a mere $80 for all of the extra stuff.
Probably just a lot less stuff in it, or a lot less... Because I know the Indiana Jones one, it's a lot.
The globe.
Yeah.
It's the globe, I think.
It's like there's a version of Fate Samurai Remnant, it was Japan only, that came with a fucking Miyamoto Musashi anime figure, and that one that was like an extra $100 on top of the original cost.
Okay, but that's pretty bomb.
It's pretty bomb, but it's a little bit outside of budget.
Yeah, especially with shipping.
Actually, it might have been more than that. I think that was like an extra $200 or $300.
Ooh, I was gonna say for $100 I could justify that. For $200 or $300, no.
I think it was just a slight discount on the anime figure you could always buy separately as well.
Absolutely the fuck not. No.
Dakota Doyle, I'm hoping for Ushi, but in my heart of hearts, I know it's probably red hair.
I want it to be Ushi. That would be great.
Here's the thing, Ushi does not need a buff. Ushi is like either the best or second best 3-star rider, but also I want Ushi to get another buff.
That's fair.
I'm gonna be right back.
You're taking your second state mandated break. Oh my god. How dare. But yeah, I don't know. I'll wait a little, Zerher, and then if by my birthday they don't restock, I might see if I can try to get it ordered from the EU. I don't know if they'll deliver an EU copy to me, but if they won't, I've got a couple people I know living in the EU right now who might be willing to like be an intermediary for me. Yeah, no, I don't know who Red Hair is. Nope, no clue. There's so many characters that could have red hair. So it's just one of those things. I think, yeah. So I don't know. I guess I'll figure out streaming off my. No, maybe. Yeah, I might end up streaming Indiana Jones if I get it sometime soon. It's supposed to come out on the 17th. Either I'll buy the digital edition when it comes out, or I'll pre-order the special edition. I haven't decided yet, but I have like almost 3 weeks to make my decision. So, straight over my head.
Red hair is the name of Lubu's horse.
Ah. Yeah, that would be why. We have not done Lubu.
That's just a historical thing, though. That's not to spoil anything about the servant.
Yeah, but I mean also, it's Lubu. I don't know much about Lubu until we get to that episode in the schedule. Yeah. Ugh. So, how's your reading going?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I powered through whatever that bullshit you gave me was.
Knockoff solo leveling?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's like, just when I thought this isn't an off the shelf, I shouldn't go into it.
Yeah, that's fair. Did you start on the next thing yet?
No, I haven't. Partially because the next Sekhie Reacts is actually the next thing on schedule I need to get done. So that's probably what I'm working on my free time tomorrow.
Yeah, that's fair.
And that next one's a bit of a chonker without giving anything away.
Look, Tacos, it's just more for next year's updates.
Yeah, I mean, it's more for next year's updates. But when Extra Record comes out, I can almost do them all as a complete batch. It'll be fun. Basically, it'll just be a lot of new Noble Phantasm animations, and I mean a lot of new Noble Phantasm animations. Just
like this year's new Chaldea Boys CEs.
It's pretty
in next year's updates.
Pretty much like that.
Yeah.
In fact, we'll probably end up just watching a little compilation on YouTube that someone uploads that'll be conveniently titled Fate Extra. All Noble Phantasm animations. I guess, well, whether or not I do that's going to depend on whether or not we do the fucking Buddha first. And Lubu.
Aren't both the Buddha and Lubu in the schedule right now?
Sorry, what? I don't remember whether or not they're before or after next updates. Don't clarify, because that's a spoiler. But if we do them before next updates, and if Extra Record comes out, then yeah, we'll probably do all of the... Just watch that full video compilation that inevitably gets put up.
Fair. Very fair.
Vlad. Yes, give Vlad another buff. He needs another Noble Phantasm upgrade, trust.
Vladdy needs all the buffs. He deserves them.
I'm pretty sure they spent the better part of Berserkers in the last, 2 years trying to outclass the permanent 5-star Berserker. Make sure the limiteds aren't worse than him. Which they succeeded.
Very fair. Hey, NikNak, what?
What's up?
No, I answered my own question. Never mind.
Admittedly, I'm not reading as fast as I possibly could, or not getting Sekhie Reacts prepped as fast as I possibly could. You don't understand. Xenoblade X came out on... I got my copy Friday. I've already put, 20 hours into that game. That's 20 hours I could have spent on, Reacts or getting through another off-the-shelf.
That is fair. Also, I feel like I did kind of give you like a heap of things to read just cuz we had potential plans for needing like an extra like 6 weeks ahead. And then now we don't. So like, you know, and I'm always kind of keeping an eye on when the next One Piece off the shelf is going to come up in your feed to do, because I know it's a longer one.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a lot of time to do that. And the way I've been approaching off the shelves, like I kind of need to pace myself so I'm not pushing right up against that deadline.
Yeah, especially because you've got to get through, I think, a Pokemon arc before that. Even if it's short, it's still...
It's literally 2
know.
volumes. That's going to be quicker than 90% of the things I've read the last few things you gave me. Or last few
True,
things we've read.
but that's still added on to the pile of stuff I gave you. So...
Honestly, I think there's more... I think the Aprilia manga is longer than the 2 Pokemon arcs.
Yeah. Just one of those things.
I should be fine getting to One Piece. One Piece really is sort of the next... Once I finish the one that I'm reading now, I think it is the next, like, large clump that I have to read.
Yeah.
And I
to be fair, it's a good one. I'm excited.
So long as I give myself, like... When is One Piece going up?
See, chat. What you don't see behind the scenes is we actually have a stupid large and very well organized editing spreadsheet tracker that I created that actually outlines all of our due dates out to the end of the year, literally to the 1st of 2026, with the order that things are going to be done in, and I'm basically filling stuff in as we go.
Yeah, I'll be fine.
So, you know.
I really only need... If I have even a month before the recording date, I can get it done on time. And I probably won't even push that close to... Like, I want to be, like, 2 or 3... I'll probably be good to go, like, 2 or 3 months. Like, I'll probably be good to go on One Piece by May.
Prisma Ilia is in the off-the-shelf list at the moment, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not touching the anime with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, for some reason, NikNak doesn't want to show us the anime.
Sekhie, the anime borders on lolly porn. Like, when that Texas law came out about depictions of artistic depictions of underage girls being banned, like, one of the examples people use is Monogatari. The other one people use is Prisma Ilia. The anime in Prisma Ilia is actually kind of vile.
I don't like that.
Yeah, there's like it's hard for me to watch the middle 2 seasons because of that. Season 1's okay, and season 4 great, but
technically, Dakota Doyle, with the exception of one video this year so far, we have largely kept to that schedule. I mean, a few videos have been like off by like a day or two, but like that's kind of to be expected. Like, to be honest, this YouTube channel is not either of our primary... It's not our primary form of income for anyone here on the channel.
This couldn't even make one person's primary income, much less 4.
No, and we, like, granted, you know, we all have other stuff going on, you know, in our lives. So, like, if I don't get a video up, like, the exact day it's due, well, that's probably because something, you know, got in my way. Like, I had something else I needed to do.
Jens, I don't really know what you're talking about. I can say this now. I don't think people exaggerate the fan service in the Prisma Ilia manga. Is it as bad in seasons 1 and 4? Not really. People that watch only season 1, they're bandwagoning. But if you're talking seasons 2 and 3, some of that shit is actually pretty damn awful. I actually like Prisma Ilia's story. I like the story. I like the world building. I like I love season 4 in the movies. But seasons 2 and 3 are just really rough on that regard. Sorry, I don't need to be yelling about that this entire stream. So I'm gonna leave it at that.
No, I get it. I've seen anime that have been pretty fucking bad about that kind of thing. And it's one thing if it's like, and I hate to say this, but like it's one thing if it's like intentionally campy and terrible, like Magical Girl Ore or like Interspecies Reviewers, right? Like that's got like intentional horrible fan service. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it's another thing if it's just sort of incidental to the story and not meant to be kind of like part of the joke. I don't know, and I've not seen it, so you know, obviously. I've seen some pretty bad fan service stuff, but that's not something I've seen yet. I'm sure at some point I'll end up watching at least part of it, but I don't know when.
For what, Prisma Ilia?
Yeah.
Like, maybe after we read the
If
manga, I'll
anything,
show
'cause
you
you
some
said that
highlights, and I'll show you why, like, the scenes that that do give me that bit of a rough reaction to it. But
if nothing else, like maybe for like the Bazette fights that you said were pretty good.
yeah, there's like some really good damn fights in all of the seasons, to be honest. Like, I will show you like the highlights of the anime once we read the manga if you want me to, but it's just, it's hard to talk about Prisma Ilia because it's a genuinely well written series. It's just hard to recommend and hard to, those elements are very rough.
And I think it would not be particularly because of this reason. It's not a great episode for the normal podcast, just because like Vorn's not a huge fan of like things that are borderline porn, like heavy ecchi and stuff like that.
Bye, Jens.
And for me, have a good day at work. And for me, I think if it's funny, I can deal with it. If it's not funny, I can't. It's like a hard line for me. Is like you got to maintain the comedy and that sort of thing. But then again, there are things that I think are funny that, like, you know, you and the boys don't. So there definitely shows things I've shown you that I think are way funnier than you guys think they are.
And let's not forget that. I guess this might be the best way to put it. People have different tolerance for this kind of bullshit in anime. Like, I watched season 1 of Bakemonogatari and I had a pretty awful reaction to some of the stuff in there. But Sekhie, you actually really like Bakemonogatari. Like, you can look past a lot of that.
I liked Bake a lot.
So, I don't want to pretend like this is the be-all, end-all. I don't think... Despite the jokes, I don't think you should have the FBI called on you just because you watch the Prisma Ilia anime and enjoy it. Because I enjoy the Prisma Ilia anime. It's just hard to talk about. And I don't think it would make for a very fun discussion. Because it's going to come up, and it has to come up with how egregious it is.
I was going to bring up the example of something that we watched recently, but then I remembered that it's not set to go up for like several more months. As a comparison. I can't use that example without giving away one of the things that we watched very recently, because we are, I think, about 2 months ahead on our regular podcasts. It was yours, NikNak.
Yeah, I was like, which one could that be?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't tend to think about it as harshly with the high schoolers, just because, you know, across cultural lines, for some reason, depictions of high schoolers like that has not been as frowned upon. Arguably, it probably should be, but it's like even American high school media can get pretty egregious, and we don't really think about it as hard.
I have largely, in terms of not fan fiction, but like actual books and webtoons, I've genuinely shifted completely away from things set in the high school time period. Like wholly and fully. I no longer, like 9 times out of 10, I will not click on a series if I know it's set explicitly in like high school these days. Because, and I don't know what it is about it, but I actively seek out things that are like, people in their 20s and 30s, like working in office jobs, going to college, like living their lives. And there's so many really good series that are set in like that later. I mean, we watched recently a sign, well, not recently, but so we saw A Sign of Affection this season. And then Wotakoi is another one that I'm a huge fan of. Like, watched the anime, read the manga. The Lady and Her Butler is another fantastic one. That's one that I'm gonna have you read on Off the Shelf because I really think you're gonna like it. Despite the name, it is not historical. It's a workplace romance comedy. So Lady and Her Butler. What's Wrong with Secretary Kim? There's another one that I really like. Business Proposal. Like I've moved completely away from on my own volition choosing to read things in the setting of high school.
Why haven't you explained it before? That it's just some of that's just oversaturation for you because there's just so much.
Part of it's oversaturation. Part of it is. But I think a fairly decent section of it now, too, is that, like, I just kind of look at it and I'm like, these are still... I'm at that point where I'm, like, in my mid-20s, and I'm just far enough into my mid-20s that when I think back to, like, people like people in high school, I'm like, these are children. Like, their brains are not developed. These are children. Which then gets a little funky because I do tend to really like romances. And I don't know. I think a lot of it is just I've moved up like an age bracket myself. To where I'm like, yes, working people's stories, college people's stories. This is relatable. I feel this. I like this. This seems interesting.
Koha Ace is not on the manga docket, but I'll say this. I've never had that kind of like even when I was in high school. My favorite like romance anime was Golden Time, a college story. So for me, it just comes down to the type of story it needs to be told. Does it need to be in high school? Like, what are the themes being presented here? What is being said here? Like, I get bored really quickly of like filler, like not like your like, harem high school anime especially. But like if there's something like actively it needs to be in high school, I'm like, okay, I can see the point of it being high school here.
Let me add a little extra perspective here. Most of the things I read, if I really like them these days, I do end up reading fan fiction for them. And you see the issue in some ways, is that like there's some really weird fan fiction communities out there for things where characters are canonically in high school. And not only are often the stories that are set like in the older age group, not only are those stories often completed and in a smaller amount of volume, so there's less drive for me to go read fan fiction about it, because I typically I'm like, oh yeah, no, this is just a sweet like Wotakoi, this is just a sweet little 6-volume love story, right? Whereas you think of something like My Hero Academia, and I'm like, oh, that's an interesting choice of rating for the age of those characters.
I mean, isn't the solution there just to filter out the explicit section on Archive of Our Own?
Yeah, but sometimes I want to read in the explicit section, and then I gotta go find like college AU. I don't know. It's we'll see. I don't know. I have mostly shifted into a more josei demographic in terms of my reading. At least when it comes to like my romances and my fantasies. I'm still like deeply in that shonen, you know. It's not a phase anymore. It's a lifestyle. If it was a phase, I would have grown out of it. So I've not read My Dress Up Darling Zero Herrera, but I did see the first season of the anime, and I did like My Dress Up Darling. So I would be interested in. I forget if I think there's a second season of the anime. I can't remember though. I thought there was, or it's supposed to be coming out. I was gonna watch the second season, and then if that didn't finish the storyline of the manga, then I was gonna go read the manga. To be honest. Yeah, Zero, that happens. Yeah, like that for me is fine. Like when the high school is just kind of like ignorable. But I think it's probably a combination of having moved up in terms of demographic in what I prefer to josei, and then also like you mentioned, NikNak, like oversaturation of the high school setting. It's both. It's definitely not just one. I definitely not just because it's oversaturated. Like I've definitely had a shift in like my preferences over the last like 5 to 6 years.
I guess that's another area where we probably differ a lot. And we see this in your off-the-shelf selections. You hone in on a type of story you like, and you find as many things as humanly possible that are like it. Mm-hmm. I don't do that.
Well, and this is not to compare us in a better or worse way, I also read incredibly voraciously. All the time. Even when I was working 50-hour work weeks, I was still reading voraciously in every second of spare time I could find.
I mean, it's not... Oh yeah, go ahead.
So like I tend to both hyperfixate and then also plow my way through intensely large amounts of content as a general rule of how I do it, and then if I end up liking it long term, I'll keep coming back to it.
I don't think it's necessarily something that's just contained to your reading habits, though. I've seen the same thing a bit in anime. You just watch a lot less of anime, so it's not as pronounced as on Off the Shelf.
True.
I mean, that's just a taste thing and just how you consume media. That's fine.
Yeah, I think with anime too, though, it's a lot of it's just like what I'm. Because it is very rare for me to go on and just like start watching something random. I don't often just start watching random things. I read the synopsis, I decide if I'm interested in it. And unlike books, I am actually very practiced at just dropping an anime like 2 or 3 episodes in or 5 or 6 episodes in if I'm just not into it. Like books, I've got like this sunk cost fallacy thing where I'm like, once I get past like 3 chapters, I have to finish it. Same with webtoons and manga. Anime, no, absolutely the fuck not. If I don't like it, it's going. Like I'm not finishing it. The amount of anime series that I've watched like 3 to 5 episodes of and then never finished.
So I'm now going to make the up till now, I've been trying not to say that either of our tastes are better, and I'm not going to do that. But I am going to blame you for something.
What?
You're why we have an oversaturation of isekai and transmigration in their respective mediums. It's people like you. Your kind.
I would argue it's the people who like Konosuba and Shield Hero and Mushoku Tensei, none of which I'm a fan of.
All of the isekai coming out right now across the board are the kind of stuff you're a fan of. That's like a previous generation of isekai.
Respectfully, NikNak, My Little Slime 300 Nen compared to their fucking Rising of the Shield Hero Season 4, get fucked.
That's one series with 4 entries. I'm not talking about ongoing series that build like dedicated fan bases. I'm talking about the one-off season fillers that are just slime, but again.
Hang on, I'm gonna catch up on chat real quick. Yeah, Horimiya was great. NikNak loves Kaguya-sama. Kaicha wa Maid-sama, I thought I had fond memories of, and then we rewatched it for the channel. And oh boy, was I looking back with rose-tinted glasses over that show. I don't hate it, but I have very different opinions on it now. Tacos, yeah, there's a lot of isekai on the channel. It's not all me, though. I mean, Vorn reads about as much isekai as I do.
I ain't got anything against isekai. My favorite anime of this season was isekai.
Black Clover is in the hat. Freren's fantastic. I just got and read volume 12.
You're saying it's good, and I'm excited to get to it eventually.
Honestly, I'd be willing to push something else back to swap for that right now. To get that volume out faster. Like, I would fully be willing to be like, here, take one of these series that you currently have on your plate, we'll swap it with this single volume of Freren. Because Freren 12, oh my god. I had Undead Adventurer on my watch list and I didn't watch it. I think I was just too busy. I'm usually too busy to watch seasonal anime. And I don't do well with seasonal anime. Right. Solo Leveling is coming out, right now, week to week. And it was like 4 episodes, it was like 3 episodes ago. And where the thing is, I know exactly what's going to happen in Solo Leveling, right, NikNak?
Yes.
Like, I know exactly what's going to happen, right? And the episode ended, and I crashed so hard. Literally messaged you at like 11 p.m. being, oh my fucking god! I can't believe the episode ended here. It was a great end of an episode. But like, I don't do week to week.
By the way, let's cut a deal here. If we're gonna swap anything on the schedule off the shelf for Freren, can we swap?
It's not gonna be One Piece.
No, it was in part, and to help One Piece along here. Can we swap out what I'm about to start reading now, because that's the next thing that's like a shit ton of chapters, and if I can get that moved to after One Piece, it'll move things along quicker right before One Piece?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. I'll try to remember to bring the book Saturday. Remind me.
You mean Sunday, maybe? Yes.
Yeah. Yes, Vorn, you are guilty as charged. But it's okay. Vorn and I like a lot of the same isekai. That is true. We are getting more straight fantasy. But they're still very similar. I was like, this season, I did try to watch a couple seasonal things. I was watching that guild receptionist one, and it just... Dungeons, Adventurers Guilds, Fantasy Town.
Oh, look, this is isekai and everything but name.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, I prefer an isekai that's imaginative to a fantasy that's just isekai without the isekai.
Yeah, I think the problem is it's hard these days. I think there's a series I'd really like you to read for Off the Shelf. And I've kind of gone back and forth on putting it in because it's sort of like Sword Art Online, but much older than Sword Art Online. And it's completed. It's only like 74 chapters total of the manga. And I'm just kind of like, I've gone back and forth over the years on like whether I want to put this in there, like for you to read, or like what do I want to do with it, because it is one of my favorite manga of all time. But I was like, is it gonna be different and interesting enough for it to? Because I would actually be slightly upset if you thought it was really bad. I think because I have such like core memories of it and how much I love it. And I've had like a lot of my favorite things kind of like dashed to bits on this channel. Some deservedly so, some not. So I'm kind of like nervous to put it in, even though I absolutely adore it.
Yes, Do Wario. Zenshu was really good this season. I just finished that yesterday.
I think Vorn and I read that. The retired adventurer's daughter becomes an S rank. Once again, the names.
Look, Sekhie, I'm telling you, just throw in all your favorites. I will systematically rip them all to shreds and destroy every sense of of feeling good you have about that series.
Look. The thing is, and obviously I hadn't. For those of you who might actually be interested in what it is, it's a series called One Half Prince. It was a series of Taiwanese novels that were adapted into a manga, right, back in 2004. Not very long, but really well done, and I really loved them. So, yeah, see, Yvonne really likes that series. Yeah, there are too many isekai anime. I think the problem now is, though, that a lot of these shows coming out are fantasy, but they look and sound exactly like the isekai.
The tropes of popular isekai are becoming too popularized in Japanese fantasy.
Yeah, so you can't even escape all of the stuff you see in an isekai in a fantasy or something else. Like I said, that Guild Receptionist anime, not an isekai. Just a fantasy. Dead ass identical to in looks. Like, it's not bad. Like, I really liked the Guild Receptionist anime, but it was just like, I got like 6 episodes in and I was like, well, I don't really want to spend a whole lot of my time watching this anymore.
You've seen this anime before.
Yeah, like, I know what's gonna happen. I know exactly what's gonna happen. So I don't know. I think that's gonna be something I work on the next time we're allowed to submit things to the hat. I wanna submit a bunch of stuff to the hat that isn't like these isekai fantasies. I think I need to go back. I've still got like 8 or 9 classic anime that I need to submit that I have on a list. And there's just some stuff that, like, stuff from like a couple years back, stuff that doesn't really come up often when I go to submit anime. So there's definitely some stuff. I think that's my goal for like the next time we get to submit anime is to like not submit any of these like generic isekai and fantasy stuff from like the last couple of years. Yeah. Yeah. I think right now part of the problem is we have had the most awful luck with the draws out of the random hat, because there are a ton of things in the random hat that are not isekai and are not fantasy. And yet almost every single time we pull something from the random hat, it comes out isekai or fantasy recently. And like I mean, I would bet doing the math, it's probably not that overwhelming. Like, there's a ton of stuff in the hat that isn't. We're just not lucky enough to be getting it. So, hopefully, for the rest of the season, maybe we'll get some nice non-isekai, non-fantasy draws. Like, There's a lot of really fun stuff in there. Wotakoi is in there. I would love to watch Wotakoi, because I would love to talk about Wotakoi, like, in the state, like, and then kind of contrast to like Horimiya and A Sign of Affection, because like in my mind these are 3 shows that like are very similar to me, and so I would love to see them talked about.
That's right. Next, where we're at next is Vorn's pick.
That is true. Dakota Doyle, oh my god, could you imagine splitting the hat by genre?
That would be something. Hilarious.
Oh, I don't think, but then Dakota Doyle, we'd be having an argument over how many of the isekai would get to go in each season, and I know for a fact that NikNak would be fighting tooth and nail for 0 or 1.
You get 2 per 20 somewhat episode discussion season.
Yeah, and like I said, we are using a random function generator, so it's not like we're not using like a selection method that's biased. Ironically, what's dooming us is the fact that our selection method is truly random. Is that because we can get any combination of stuff.
Well, that's why we've stepped away from doing all random seasons, is because it led to us like having no control over what we were watching and going these long stretches of things no one felt like watching.
Like, even though we were all submitting stuff to the hat, that doesn't mean everything we were submitting was stuff that we liked. In NikNak's case, in particular, Bastard kept putting in stuff he didn't like.
Look, shared trauma is a great bonding experience.
See, Nady, the problem with that is guess who? Guess who would have to create a bunch of different hats and sort by fucking genre?
Yeah, I don't think we're doing that again after
it would be me.
After the bullshit that was separating the hat by individual submissions last season.
Yeah.
I don't think Sekhie ever wants to do that again.
Because last season we had the hat divided up by who put in what, so we were rolling on each of our individual lists only.
Hilariously, it'd be a lot easier now in this season to do that than it was last season. But that's just because Sekhie and I stepped in and said, hey, we could do this a lot better if we just make an actual Google Doc and have our names listed there. But the process of getting there took us the entire season to get anyways.
I mean, here's the thing. If you sat me down in front of a computer with enough Dr. Pepper, I'm sure I could go in and input a primary genre for every single show. And what I would probably do is I would probably just input that as a drop-down filter, and then filter and roll or something like that with a separate spinner in like a different tab. But then becomes the problem. What about the shows that are listed under multiple genres, right? Like horror comedies or comedy romances or romance comedies. Like if it's a comedy comma romance or a romance comma comedy, what do you sort it into? Is it a romance? Is it a comedy? Do you put both? A lot of these shows have 1 to 4 genre tags, and there's no actual like order or sense to what order they're putting the tags in necessarily. So it becomes
Is it isekai or is it a harem?
Yeah, it's harem, isekai, harem.
Which is a surprisingly large amount of isekai, if I'm honest. Pretty much focused no matter what demographic. Like, woman-focused isekai tend to have a lot of harem elements. Male-focused isekai tend to have a lot of harem elements. I wonder if there's a reason for that.
Nady, based on previous research and rate of consumption, at least a 12-pack. At minimum a 12-pack. Although if you throw a little crack in there, probably get it down to 10. But yeah, I think the bigger problem with that is that then the genres would become confusing, because you are going to have usually 2 or more genres for any given show, and then deciding which one is the primary genre. Because what if I say, like, what if I take, like, Guild Receptionist, right? And I say that it's a romance, comma, fantasy. So it goes in the romance shows, you know? But NikNak might see that same show and say, that's a fantasy, comma, romance. It should go in the fantasy shows. And then we'd be like, shucks. What do we do now?
Oh, look, we separated out the isekais to be their other genres, and now we have isekais littering every category.
Yeah, because isekai is unfortunately more of a setting than a genre, and so it's often listed second or third.
So it doesn't really solve our problem.
Yeah, and we can't separate it by demographic, because then we just have Kodomomoke, Shonen, Shoujo, Josei, and Seinen. And that would be... You want a kid's show, you want a teenage girl show, you want a teenage boy show, you want an adult girl show, you want an adult boy show.
Although I'm not 100% against that particular breakdown. Like, that doesn't solve the isekai problem. But that does sound like an interesting way to break down the seasons. Like, oh, this week we're watching a kid's show. Which kid's show are we watching? Oh, no.
Oh, God. That sounds... The problem is, I don't... The problem is the hat right now would be overwhelmingly shonen shoujo. We'd have very few seinens, even less josei or kodomomoke.
Yeah,
genuinely.
I think seinen and josei, there's at least enough stuff that I think you and I would have put in there, but like kodomomoke would be like 2 things in there right now, probably maybe 3.
Yeah. Dakota Doyle, what is the name of that one?
Oh, the 100 girlfriends who really, really love you.
Oh, that I don't think that's in there.
I'm gonna be honest. Like, I've heard great things about that anime. I'd be willing to put it in there if I run out of things to submit, but
it does not sound familiar, and I did recently have to go through the hat because I did a full update last week. So the current hat is currently up to date, up to this season, up to date. Which means technically, if you were an enterprising individual, you could potentially weasel out the next 4 anime we've watched, although not the order, because I do have them marked down as season 6 in the secondary hat. Because I do keep that updated for my own records, personally. That's as close as you guys get to seeing behind the scenes of what's happening per season when we're far enough ahead.
I don't hold the podcast discussions close. Really, I don't hold anything close to the chest the same way we hold the reacts closer to the chest. Like, reacts really the only thing that I hold close to the chest. The actual podcast discussions are off the shelves. I'll just drop what we're saying sometimes midstream, or reading sometimes midstream, or walking.
Yeah. But it's definitely one of those things where it's like I would not mind resorting the hat somehow for like the purposes of, because we try to make the way that we draw things different every season. Just shake up the order, do different things. Right now, I've put forward a 2-season idea that would pay off the year after next, with a little finessing and finagling.
It's an interesting idea. I'll give it that.
It would also cover 2 seasons.
It's just it's like one element to that idea. I don't want to draw out the idea because we might not go with it. There's like one element of the idea where I'm like, that might be counterproductive to some other thing we're trying to do right now.
Yeah, but it also becomes hard because we've already done a bunch of different things. So like, what's left to do? We've done an all random season. We've done a no random season. We've done like where there were more randos than us. We've done where there was more us than pulling from the random hat. And nothing is perfect. Like, I'm constantly shafted over my long shonen, and that is the nature of the way that we review anime. My shonen would be shafted regardless, so that's a problem I have to live with.
Look, I've given you off the shelf.
yeah, like that's I'm not actually upset about it anymore. I was probably in the first season, but that's just because I had such good luck in the first season. And other people get shafted in other ways, I think NikNak and I probably put the most thought into our submissions. It's very rare that we just put something in off the like cuff, We tend to think a lot more when we're allowed to choose what we're putting in when it doesn't come out of rando. But then we're not getting through rando very quickly. But if we do all rando, it's so unstructured that we often hit like entire like multi-month sections where nobody's enjoying anything all that much.
That happened for a good chunk of season 1.
Season 2, actually.
Was it season 2 where it was that bad?
Yeah, because season 1 was just us putting in stuff we wanted.
No, season 1 was all rando. Like, it was only out of the rando hat.
Yeah, but we were also just starting to put stuff in, so there were way less shows in there, and we had the multiples rule. So, like, you and Realm put, like, fucking Domestic Nakanojo in, like, 11 times.
But season 2 was, like, we all, like, it was random whose name would come out. And then the person would pick.
Let me see. Because there was
structure
there was
to
a season. It might have been season 3. I know there was a season where we had like a pretty bad fucking run. It definitely wasn't season 1 though, because we mostly got everything we wanted. It just I got more than everyone else. But that's not like us getting a bunch of stuff we weren't interested in.
I just remember Burnout being the worst towards the end of season 1. Part of that was because we were doing 2 at once. So even if we liked something, there was a good chance we were watching something at the same time that we didn't like.
But it was also like the start of
Yeah.
quarantine was first in full swing, and we were all isolated and fucked up. And to be honest, none of those episodes were helped by the attitudes of people who binged like 40 episodes of anime the night before recording, when they had multiple weeks to watch it.
Wasn't that everybody except for me at the time?
Yeah, but some of us had worse attitudes than others. Not naming names. Some of us had shitty attitudes.
Look, I'll take responsibility for my part of what made that back end so awful. Like, what, having everyone's favorite feel good author Gen Urobuchi's Fate Zero during the start of quarantine, maybe not my best decision.
Fate Zero wasn't in season 1 though.
Wasn't it?
No.
Oh.
We just finished Fate Stay Night in season 1. When you're talking about the back end, you're talking that section where we went Haikyuu, Get Backers, Demon Slayer, Prince of Tennis, Snafu season 2, and Death Parade. You guys actively liked like 3 of those.
Yeah.
The back half of season 1 was not that bad. I think you're thinking of where we had like... Yeah, I think you're thinking of season 2 if you're thinking of the season we did Fate Zero.
Maybe. I don't remember. We took... How long... Did we take a break between the end of season 1 and season 2?
Yes. Yeah.
I don't remember that period of time too much. I just remember there was a point in time in quarantine where you were bitching, I was feeling a bit down, and it didn't sound like Vorn or Realm were too into things either. I think it was the back end of season 1, but it was more to do with the doubles than anything.
Yeah, it was more to do with the doubles. And like I said, even with those doubles, out of like the last 6 things we watched, you guys genuinely liked 3 of them. It was only my stuff that got shit on.
Okay, I think in everyone's case. I didn't...
Because you guys liked Snafu, you liked Demon Slayer, and you liked Death Parade.
I remember not being that big on Death Parade. Like, I thought it was interesting.
You guys liked Death Parade. You were really positive in that review.
I distinctly remember having your reaction to Madoka. I'm like, this is a good anime. I just hated watching it.
No, you guys liked that.
No, I definitely had like
I was the only person who was neutral on that anime.
Like, in terms of raw rating, yeah, but that's... I distinctly remember in that episode being like, yeah, this made me feel
NikNak.
Existential dread, and I didn't like that.
NikNak, as the person who edited all of those last 7 episodes, the 3 of you were, on the whole, more positive about anything that wasn't mine.
No, I think some of us were positive about any given one of them. Like, I like Haikyuu. Realm liked Get Backers. It's just we weren't all positive at once about yours.
Prince of Tennis.
Nobody liked Prince of Tennis. I'm sorry. No one liked Prince of Tennis.
Yeah. Nobody liked all the Katekyo that season.
Wasn't that the point where Katekyo started improving?
And yet I was still the only person who approved of it.
No. It was immediately the one in season 2. Because there was a season 2 Katekyo, wasn't there? Or was it later?
There was, in fact, not. We did not get back to Katekyo till season 4.
I don't remember. I just remember there was like... Yeah, no, maybe we were still negative on Katekyo at that point.
Either way. I got the shit end of that.
I could make a comment right now.
There were some very like negative on the whole recordings during the last 6 episodes of season 1, but we were doing doubles. It was quarantine. You know, most of us were not sleeping a whole ton on normal schedules or going out and interacting with people.
I can agree on that. I'm still going to push back on Death Parade because I distinctly remember my feelings on Death Parade. I could pull up we could watch Party Death Parade right now, but neither of us want to. But I guarantee my reaction was your Madoka reaction of great anime. I fucking hated it, but it's a great anime, so I'm not going to give it a meh.
On that note, how dare you with Puella? Disgusting. Truly. Yeah, the problem is, Vorn, those transitions were in every scene.
It was really bad during that first stretch of episodes. It wasn't as bad in the later set of episodes we did more recently. That first set of episodes, though.
See you later, Zero Herrera. Technically, Vorn, we did get out of filler in season 1 because we had the arc with Mukuro. I'm just saying, I had a shitty season 1. I will die on this hill. I had a shitty season 1. Everything I put in, people disliked.
Look, it's taking all in my power not to make the meanest possible comment I can right now.
Yeah, you better not. At least I did not produce the worst animes that season.
Amagami SS and Domestic Nakanajo?
You know, I was actually gonna say both of those and then Date Alive.
See,
but I know that you guys like Date Alive somehow.
Well, I enjoy how stupid it is, and I like Domestic Nakanajo for being raw cringe. Amagami SS, I can't with Amagami SS.
And yet you suggested we read the visual novel.
It was a joke. Now,
I somehow don't believe that you wouldn't turn up at my place with a copy of that damn visual novel.
Look. It's not worth it. It's just not. There's no value to the channel. It's not historic. Like, Date Alive's historic. That was our first discussion. I'm going to bring us back to Date Alive eventually again in the future one day anyway as well. Maybe, what year are we on right now? Maybe when we hit our 10 year, we'll do Date Alive 3. But
well, we're on year 6.
Yeah, in 4 years, maybe we'll cover Date Alive 3. 10-year anniversary right there. But I'm telling you right now, there is no... I don't see popularity value in Amagami SS. What? Do we want to bond over the fact that we're reading the visual novel, the worst of the thing we reviewed, the worst on the channel? No, we're not going to enjoy it. If there's fans of Amagami SS, they're not going to enjoy it. The only reason I would do it is if suddenly our channel got like $100 in donations for us to read it. Then I might be like, oh, someone wants us to read that. Fuck it. But like, no, we don't. We're not doing that. No, we're not doing that.
Tacos over here cursing me.
Take a bullet.
Oh my fucking god, I can't. I do so much worse with harems than anyone else on the channel. I hate them with a burning passion. Like, truly hate harems.
Do I make that comment or do I not make that comment? No, I'm gonna make that comment.
Every rule has an exception.
You hate the male-centered harems. We cover a female harem, and you are significantly more forgiving on it than any of us on the channel. If it's focused, if it's targeted at a female demographic, for good reason, mind you, for good reason. But yeah, but let's not pretend like you're any less susceptible to harems than anyone else on the channel. You're just not part of the target demographic, which is fair. That's fair. But I think the two harems are just egregious.
Have we watched on the channel?
Rokujoma. We all trashed on that one pretty badly.
Yeah, Rokujoma was terrible. Isn't that a group of girls and one guy? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's a male-centric harem. It's
sorry. What female-centric harems have we watched on the channel?
What is the name of that one that was based off of a visual novel?
Oh, Kamigami no Asobi?
And
I like that for the gods.
You did turn against it eventually in season 2, but remember, I was significantly more negative on Villainess for the first season.
Bro, but Villainess was funny for one season. And remember, Villainess was also... The reason why I like Villainess is not because it's a female-centric harem. It's because it was like the first of that genre that I had ever watched or read, and I actually thought season 1 was really good and funny and something I hadn't seen before. I have no stakes in any of her romances.
Lest we also not forget Ouran High School Host Club.
Okay, Oron doesn't count.
Yes, it
That
does.
is a classic.
Yes, it fucking does. Look, I can go over this. We've done some on the channel. Some of them are good, but at the same time, I can get you to concede that some of the male-centric harems are good. Like, you like Monogatari. That's a male-centric harem. I didn't even like that one. That's a male-centric harem. Bakemonogatari? Then there's Rascal, which you at least admitted was good at the time, even if you prefer Monogatari now.
But both Rascal and Bunny, but for both Rascal and Bunny, part of the reason why I like them is because even though it's set up to be a harem, the main characters get together very quickly, and there's no weird faffing about, oh, well, now I've got like 4 girls in love with me. No, it's, I am dating this person. These people do some weird things because they're into me, but that's fine because I am dating this person.
Thank you, Tacos. Fruits Basket is a harem. We did that as an off-the-shelf.
No. Tacos is asking that as a question. Fruits Basket is not technically a harem because there's technically only 2 love interests.
It's a
just
harem.
A love triangle.
It's a harem in all, but it's pretty much a harem.
It's not. Having read the manga, it is not. It is a love triangle, which I actually do dislike. But it is not a harem because nobody is a romantic partner for her except for Yuki or Kyo. So it is just a love triangle, and there's a ton of those all over anime, and they are not harems.
But we would also call Bakemonogatari, and Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl harems, even though there's a set romantic partnership. It's not even a love
there's
triangle.
A bunch of girls. But in those, because those are not love triangles. A love triangle requires one person to be in love with one person, that person to be in love with another person, and the other person to be in love with another person.
That's what I said.
Right?
It's not even a love triangle.
That's not what's happening. No, that is a love triangle. It's literally a love triangle. What is happening in Bake and Rascal is 2 people who are in a relationship together, and then random outliers coming in. Right? That's different. Oron I will give you as a harem.
Somehow, I think you're being a lot more charitable
Oron
about
is a
what's a
harem.
harem when you're talking about the male-centric ones and when the female-centric ones. Because, like, from that, I would hold, too, that...
Name a female-centric harem we've watched where the woman is in a relationship with a man, and a bunch of men are hitting on her, and that's what you're defining as the harem. Sorry, other way around. You know what I mean.
I don't think we've had one yet, but I honestly, I prefer that over
Exactly! But that's the point. That is better. Okay, if your choices are between, like, a boy and all the women who are after him, and a boy in a committed relationship who is not entertaining the whims of a bunch of other women who are in love with him, that is automatically a better story in my opinion. Like, I prefer that to man with like 4 different women falling at his feet in horrible fan servicey ways. That's why I liked Rascal and Bake.
See, I think the problem here is, like, when I'm reading Fruits Basket, I'm seeing a lot of male simpery. Even if they're not all, like, romantic interests, there is a shit ton of male simpery going on. Even if they're not explicitly romantic interests. But
put this into perspective, right? In Fruits Basket, her active love interests are Yuki and Kyo, right? Now, Shigure, Ayame, Hattori, they're all attractive, right? They're attractive men, as are often drawn in shoujo. But none of the 3 of them are ever portrayed as romantic interests for Toru, except as a one-off joke, right? Same thing with Akito. Same thing with Hatsuharu. Same thing with Momiji. None of them are portrayed as actual love interests for her. It's a joke that's made, but they're all younger or older than her and not in a romantic possible relationship. It's just her and Yuki and Kyo. That's it. Like, Shigure is literally taking the place of an older brother or father figure for her. Same thing with Hattori. Ayame is mostly irrelevant. And then Momiji is very much taking the place of little brother. Same thing with Hatsuharu. Like, it is not romantic.
Hey, Warren had answered your question earlier.
Really, Anna?
Granted, you didn't like Raeliana much, so that's fair. That's a fair response.
But
oh my god.
But I didn't.
Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, Vorn is right. I did not think of Raeliana, and that is an example of a man with a bunch of women simping after him, but he's in a committed relationship with one of them, right? That is the reverse example there, right? It is correct. But also, there are other reasons I didn't like Raeliana. Also, that's kind of the plot of every one of those historical romance. The man is always in hot demand with every woman in upper society. Yeah. Like, that's all of them.
You mean the other way around?
Sorry. No, the man is always wanted by all the women of upper society. Like, the Duke is always the most eligible bachelor.
Yeah, but the point of the example is it's a reverse harem where the woman is in a committed relationship and other men are coming after her.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's happening. Okay, so really, I think the problem is often when I see that in a series like Raeliana, the men that are coming after the woman in a relationship are not coming after her because they like her. They're coming after her because they want to like marry her and kill her and inherit her money or something like that. That's often the case in those stories specifically.
Look, I've read enough. I've enjoyed some of these as well, but I've read enough of like, oh, which guy is she gonna get with for our off the shelves? Where I'm like, okay, this is where the tropes are coming in. And maybe you aren't thinking about them as romance harems as you're reading them, but they're reverse harems.
Yeah, but once again, in Fruits Basket, the question is between Yuki and Kyo. There's no one else in the running.
I mean, practically speaking, in most of these series, usually there's only one or two people actually in the running.
Okay, let me rephrase that. In Fruits Basket, in specific, there is no one else being considered for a romantic relationship other than Yuki and Kyo. Like, it's not that these two are obviously in front, and it's going to be one of them. It's that there is no one else in that position in the story. Oron is an example where there are, like, multiple men after the same girl.
I think on Fruits Basket, we're at a point where we kind of need to agree to disagree.
Well, you didn't finish Fruits Basket, so...
Do you need to? The ending is the least important part about identifying whether a harem's a harem, because that's when they actually get together.
Oh my... Jesus fucking Christ. You have intrinsically misunderstood Fruits Basket, and I cannot. I also don't agree with the end pairing in Oron. I like the author's original end pairing, not the one that ended up going through for the manga. But that's just me being nitpicky.
Oh yeah, Yona also does have a reverse harem aspect. Like, that is actually a thing with Yona. I like Yona, mind you.
Yona does.
Like, I'm not saying reverse harems aren't good. I'm just saying those tropes are a lot easier to miss sometimes, I think, if you're actively more accepting of them.
But I would be as skeeved out if men started doing the same weird things as women do in harems. Like, in Yona of the Dawn, those men aren't, like, pushing their tits together in front of a guy's face and, like, bending over Sekhie.
Look, I'm just gonna...
There's a difference in how the story is represented as well in some of these.
I'm just gonna ignore, like, 4/5 of Oron High School Host Club's plots when you bring that up.
Look, Oron is separate. The whole point is that they are portraying a harem. And are a harem.
Look, I'm just gonna say, the writing on female-centric harems are probably going to be more... I don't want to say socially acceptable for female audiences, but more appetizing and more palatable for female audiences than the ones.
I also love the fact that you're taking the most out there example. Like, most female-centric harems are not written like Oron.
Kamigami no Asobi was not any less egregious.
I never said Kamigami no Asobi was good. I don't watch Kamigami no Asobi for its quality.
Are we not going to act like some of the, I guess, like especially that one you had me read for Transmigration wasn't just an actual date R-word story?
My First Night with the Duke? Fun fact, we're finishing that this year.
I know we are. Like, I'm not saying I can't look over these tropes. I'm just saying it's easier to look past them if you're the target demographic, I have to imagine. Now, is there more male harems? Probably there's a larger amount of male harems because there's a larger amount of, like, men buying dumb anime merch. But I don't think it's... I genuinely think it's a matter of palatability for the target demographic in some cases.
I also think that your sample size is flawed.
Reading-wise, I know there's a lot more female harems, but I think anime-wise, it balances a lot harder on men because anime tend to be funded by dumb anime merch.
Doho Oreo. I don't think I've ever heard anyone describe Berserk as a romance.
I actually have. I've heard people find the main romantic pairing actually really, really heartwarming. The problem is, it's a well-done romance in a series that's not explicitly a romance.
But that's what I mean. I did like, yes, okay, a series does not have to be labeled a romance to have a good romance. I would never, personally, based on what I know of Berserk, call it a romance. It might have a good romance, but I would never call it a romance. Also, Yona of the Dawn definitely wasn't that egregious.
No, but there are male harems that aren't that egregious either. This is Fate Stay Night. I would say Fate Stay Night is a romance with some routes emphasizing it more than others. Like, I don't think Unlimited Blade Works actually emphasizes the romantic elements that much, whereas the Fate route and the Heaven's Feel route definitely do.
Okay, I just want to make myself feel better. Oh good. Oh good. I've done this to myself. I just looked up male harem anime. So good news and bad news.
What's the good news?
With the exception of Oron, I do genuinely dislike female-centric harem anime.
What's the bad news?
I've actually submitted 4 of them to the hat. Granted, I have been very explicit about not liking most of these, but I have submitted them to the hat because they were anime that I have watched. But yeah. So, I mean, with the exception of Oron, because Oron is a female-centric harem, but it is also so egregiously a harem because that is part of the joke of it. I mean, they're literally in a host club. As opposed to some of the rest of these. I have, in fact, definitely put that one in. 1, 2, 3, 4. And these are not good. 5. I might have put 5 in. There's a chance I put 5 in.
Look, at the end of the day, I'm not saying that your harems are any worse than our harems. What I'm saying is, don't place yourself on a pedestal.
I don't know, man. I think I've got... I think I've got a little bit more wiggle room here.
Didn't you put in what the fuck is it called? Realm might have put it in for you. I can't remember which one that was, but I distinctly remember you putting in
Junjo Romantica?
Yes, that one.
Junjo Romantica is not a harem.
No, I know it's not a harem, but I'm just saying, like, trash can be matched for trash when you get down to it.
Hold on. JoJo Romantica is actually quite good. Especially the later seasons. It is not Uta no Prince Sama.
Alright, guys, my next video essay for the channel is why Domestic Nakanojo is a masterpiece if you ignore the ending.
I literally just said, especially the later seasons. I might be Dakota Doyle.
Yeah, she's stuttering for a bit.
Tacos has presented us with another fun conundrum. Do we count Faint Stay Night as a romance?
Oh, I actually answered that. Yes, although I count the Fate route and the Heavensfield route as romances. UBW, even in the visual novel, does not emphasize that romance that much. But it is, at its core, written to at least be thematically a romance across the entire thing.
Vorn, I will out myself here, and I will say I put in Kiss Him Not Me. I put in Magic Kyun Renaissance. I put in Brothers Conflict. I put in Sweet Love Patisserie. I think I also put in... I think if Diabolic Lovers is in there, I put it in. And I'm the one who put in The Wallflower, Kamigami no Asobi. Like, I put in Sayun Koku Monogatari. That's another female reverse harem. So, like, I definitely put in a bunch of reverse harems. I just don't like most of the ones I put in. There's, like, I think out of all of those, like, Kiss Him Not Me is funny, even though I hate most of the men. It is still a funny show, and other people have watched it and agreed. Sayun Koku Monogatari, you can pry out of my cold, dead hands. It's my version of Apothecary Diaries. And then one of the other ones I was also put in genuinely. The rest I put in just because I knew about them and had seen them because they were free on YouTube.
And let's not pretend
when
like
I started watching them.
Let's not pretend like anyone came away liking Invaders of the Rokujoma. Like, putting in harem anime that you don't...
It was not good.
No, but putting in harem anime just because you've seen them before and you want to watch them out of a morbid curiosity is not out of the norm for this channel.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun when we get to Brothers Conflict and, like, Magic Kyun Renaissance. And not... When I say fun, I don't mean fun.
You might enjoy yourself, ironically. Look, can you look at it and laugh at it a lot easier than the rest of us would be able to? Probably. That's what I'm thinking about, at least.
I don't know if I can, genuine. Maybe Magic Kyun Renaissance. Maybe. Definitely not Brothers Conflict. But yeah, no, I've, like... Yeah. They're fucking harems. I still stand by my comment, though, with a few notable exceptions. Harems are just bad.
I mean, are you including the reverse harems in there? Because if you include both of them,
Yeah.
I agree.
No, harems. I don't care if they're regular, I don't care if they're reverse. They're all pretty shit with just a few notable exceptions. Blue Exorcist, I think, is in that? I like Blue Exorcist. Or at least I like the original. I've not seen the new parts. That's fair, Vorn. I feel like we didn't get enough of the backstory. Rokujoma was interesting, is a good way to describe it. Very interesting.
There was also that other harem we watched more recently where the ending was just the girls having a love professing contest. That was cringe as fuck. That was like the cringest thing I've watched in a long time.
What was that?
Oh, it was that one where the guy and the girl were pretending not to like each other. It was bad. It wasn't good.
I can't even remember what that was. We watched so many anime.
I don't remember what it was. Yeah.
Oh, God.
I want to say that one was also Vorn's.
That is the unfortunate reality.
Wait,
of a
no,
lot
was
of-
it Realms? It might have been Realms.
It might have
mine.
been Realms.
Wasn't yours, definitely.
No, God, no. Say, because oh God, now I'm super curious about what that was. Hold on,
I can find it. Okay.
it wasn't Oreshura,
I think it was Oreshura.
was it? Okay, yeah, I was not a fan of that.
Yeah, it was Oreshura.
Yeah, I was not a fan. I was so not a fan.
See, but I could bring that up, and you remembered it as I was bringing it up a little bit. Like, I'm telling you,
Yeah.
the reality of shared trauma is there. Like, shared trauma, great bonding experience.
But like, also keep in mind, we have, according to my count in the hat, if we count multiples where we watched like, like we've watched like 11 submissions of Fairy Tail, right? We've watched 144 anime, or 144 sets of episodes in the time that we've been doing this podcast. Some of them have started to blend together. Some of them have started to just disappear from my memory.
So what you're saying is if we want to resubmit stuff from season 1, it's fair game.
What I'm saying is if there are certain things that if you resubmit them from season 1, I'm going to fight you outside on the front lawn.
Come on. Put them up.
Fisticuffs. Fisticuffs. I was not a fan of a lot of season 1.
Look, I would be, like, down the line, I wouldn't be against having it, like, having a grace period to resubmit stuff if you ever wanted to, especially for some of the one-offs we did for season 1 and 2.
We didn't do a lot of one-offs in season 1 and 2.
That said, we have plenty of anime that we still have yet to watch.
Tacos, I will kill you. I will reach through this screen. I will physically murder you. I cannot.
But, like,
I cannot do Data Live again.
Wouldn't it pique your interest to, now that we're all a little bit warmer on Fairy Tail, or all a little bit warmer on One Piece, bring us back to some of those early arcs and seeing if our thoughts changed on them? Doesn't that pique your curiosity at all? Given enough time, obviously.
I don't know if on Fairy Tail or One Piece it does, but maybe on Naruto.
You have to get me to a winning arc on Naruto first. And from my understanding, we're watching the peak of it right now, and I'm still not enjoying it.
Okay, but we're not done with the peak of it right now.
I'm pretty sure we're watching. I'm pretty sure our last submission had the point that people often point to as the peak of Naruto.
But we still have to finish the arc.
The Rock Lee fight was mid. Fight me, motherfuckers.
To be fair, Tacos, NikNak and I have both seen the One Piece remake, or the live action.
I'm actually really looking forward to season 2.
Fantastic. Oh, I'm so excited, especially since we know exactly where it's going to end. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm just so freaking excited. Oh. You know, Dakota Doyle, I've brought that up. Not necessarily watching the entirety of some of the old ones, but like so because I wasn't really playing the game for like the first almost like 2 years that we were doing reacts, I kind of, what was told to me would kind of go in one ear and out the other after a certain amount of time. And I've hit the point where with especially a lot of the like year 1, year 2 Sekhie React servants, I don't remember them very well anymore. Unless we've done like really recent updates on them. And so, and also like some of those old videos were like very, very different style and stuff. I wouldn't mind reviewing some of the older servants, maybe watching like parts of our videos on streams. I wouldn't necessarily want to like rewatch like the entire video per se, but like there's definitely a few places where, like, for example, when we did the Ozymandias video, there's a point in the video where I was like, oh yeah, and his wife Nefertari, and NikNak corrected me, and you were like, no, his wife is Nefertiti in Fate, and I was like really confused, but I just went with it, right? Because I was like, oh, it's Fate. Fate does weird stuff. NikNak was accidentally wrong. The names are very similar.
Oh, what would be the point in going back to that, though? I mean, we're not redoing the video from scratch.
No, but it would be one of those things where, like, if we were rewatching, I'd be like, pause here. This is the actual thing. Keep going, you know?
You've already done that.
Technically, I just inserted a bunch of, like, text over the video to try to clarify what happened in the original recording. But there are, like, other video... Like, for example, I remember very little about the Nobunaga video, other than Demon Mommy Nobu. Like, to the point where I actively forget that Nobukatsu exists half the time, and can hardly identify them from one another if I'm not, like... If they're not in, like, Demon Mommy form. There are just, like, some older servants that have not stuck in my mind very well. Not because they're bad, just because it was before I really used them, and they just never made a huge impression. Tacos. Vorn, Naruto will eventually go back in the hat. We have to finish the Chunin exams. It's just not currently coming out. Oh, yeah, the new... So, Tacos, do you mean the new remastered episodes, which are currently, I think, in Alabasta? So, they're doing remastered episodes of One Piece, right? Where they're updating it to, like, modern quality and modern graphics, right? I think they're currently in Alabasta or something like that. Realm watched those for a couple of our submissions on accident instead of the older ones, right? So the animation quality is much higher and the character models look different because they're showing the post-time skip art style, right? Or do you mean the upcoming One Piece anime remake that's going to be remaking the entirety of One Piece, but in a much shorter episode timeline? Like, much fewer episodes. Like, which of those two do you mean? Because, like, you know, I've seen the remastered episodes. I think they're great if you already appreciate the series, because they don't really change anything about the episodes. They just make them look better and sound better. Whereas the new upcoming anime that's going to be a complete remake and remaster, I'm interested in that. Okay, so the full-on remake. All right. I'm interested in that, but we don't know much about it yet. And I get that One Piece is really, really long. And a lot of One Piece could be slimmed down. But that remake is predicted to be something like 200 total episodes? Or something, somebody said? I can't see them fitting the current runtime of One Piece, like all the arcs and stories, into that few episodes. I'm gonna be honest. And maybe that's just me as a fangirl talking, but genuinely, I don't know, you know?
I mean, it's hard for me to imagine the live action at its pacing ever hitting, like, as many, like, past around that amount of episodes. If nothing else, just because I don't think they have enough time to record to do that many episodes total.
I will say I do think that the one thing that the live action should be doing is, like, continual yearly filming, much in the same way that, like, Call the Midwife does it. Call the Midwife comes out with a new season every single year because they do a filming season every single year. They're not waiting for renewals. They're not waiting for...
I just think that what you're probably going to get is not One Piece as you know it, but a heavily truncated version of One Piece that cuts the fights down to a massive degree and simplifies the story in order to streamline it.
And honestly, I can probably pretty genuinely say that, like, a full-on anime remake, it doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't really matter how good it looks. If it significantly cuts, like, large portions of, like, story-relevant material, right, I won't be happy with it. Because one of the reasons I like One Piece is the intricacy and the connections of the story. When you can see something in episode 800 calling back to something in episode, like, 18. I like that. I think it's engaging. I think that makes all of the build-up and episodes worth it, but I could see how that's the sort of thing that might be removed for a truncated and shorter version, at which point, well, then what was the point of the length?
Well, then I raise you, what about the live action that's already doing that?
But the live action is also making changes.
Yeah, I mean, but the remake, that's what they kind of have to do to truncate it that much.
But the remake is not advertised as making story changes. The remake is advertised as being a remake that does not change the story. That's my problem with the way that the remake is being advertised. Here's the thing, NikNak. We barely know anything about this anime remake. This is not like coming out in the next season or two. No. It's been announced. We have a studio.
Yeah,
we have a maybe amount of episodes.
Well, that's where I'm at, though, is like, you say it's being advertised as that, but I don't think it's been advertised at all.
No, it hasn't, because all we know is that it supposedly exists.
But if it is that many episodes, is it not too outside the realm of possibility that it's closer to the live action version, where it's more of a retelling and a streamlining than anything?
But here's the thing. The 200 episode thing is a rumor. So we don't actually know if that's the planned episode count. We don't know. So we do know that the remake is supposed to shorten the anime, right? And I could absolutely see a fair amount of stuff cut out from, like, I could easily see the current 1,000 episodes cut by half. Just by streamlining fights. Like genuinely, just by, like, all those fights that last, like, 20 episodes don't need to be that long. They don't. It's a shonen thing. They don't need to be that long. So I could easily see a ton of the length getting cut just on fight scenes. But 500, even 500 episodes, or 600 depending on where the anime ends, is still a lot of fucking episodes. Is it worth it to make a so-called shorter remake if it's still longer than most other, even shonen anime? So are they going to aim to make it even shorter than that? What are they going to start cutting to do that? And if they're going to make it like 600 episodes, maybe it would be good for new people getting into One Piece who don't want to watch 1,200 episodes?
Well, I think, wouldn't that be the target demographic? Because the old One Piece anime is still ongoing and it still exists. And in theory, this would be coming out while the old anime is still ongoing.
No, it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to start coming out after the anime ends. Huh? That's why we know nothing about it, because it's not. It's like in pre-production or something, but it's not supposed to be coming out till after One Piece, and One Piece is in its final arc.
Because that seems to be the mission from Go, is to make a more approachable One Piece.
That's no, I get that. I'm just concerned about what they're going to set as a length goal, and if it will truly be worth it in the end. Because if I were to have said to you guys, right, when we started watching the channel, hey, let's watch One Piece, it's only 600 episodes for the remake. That's still more than Naruto Shippuden. That's longer than Bleach. That's longer than Fairy Tail, even accounting for multiple seasons. Like, if you add Fairy Tail, Fairy Tail 0, Fairy Tail 2, Fairy Tail final season, and all of 100 Years Quest, that's still longer than Fairy Tail. That's longer than Dragon Ball plus Dragon Ball Z. That, 600 episodes is not a small show. That's a lot of fucking episodes. So at that point, is the reduction to 600, right, by cutting it in half, say, worth it? Or would they be going for even more reduction? What would they be cutting besides fights?
And that's where I agree with you, is that 600 probably isn't worth it. Whereas cutting it and reworking the story where it's more like the One Piece live action, which has been the most accessible form of One Piece lately for just general audiences.
But why remake the One Piece live action into anime?
I'm not saying remake the live action specifically into anime, but in the same vein as the live action, a streamlining of the same story. Now, am I saying it's going to be good? No. Because I'm sure, I know enough about stories I like a lot to be like, yeah, I wouldn't want my favorite stories to be retold in a quarter of the length, even lower than that. But at the same time, I can look at a project like that and be like, no, No, I'm just not the target demographic of that. Am I going to watch it? Maybe I'm out of curiosity, but I don't think I'll be satisfied with it.
Well, and Dakota Doyle has... I think Dakota Doyle, you're overestimating one thing. So Dakota Doyle says stuff like Foxy could be cut. So for context for you, NikNak, Foxy is an anime-only arc, non-canon filler. The problem is, if you do the math, all of the non-canon filler in One Piece adds up to 10% or less of the anime episodes. So it's 100 episodes max. The thing is, One Piece just genuinely doesn't have a lot of filler, right? I can say One Piece has 100 episodes of filler, right? But that 100 is spread out over 1,000+ episodes. It's less than 10%. It's not like Bleach, where there's like 50% filler, or Boruto, where it's like 85% filler, you know? So yeah, you could cut filler, but that's only going to cut you back like another 100 episodes.
That's where it has to be something like with the... Because live action, the way it's going about it is there are some arcs that are just combined, like some elements that were taken from one arc and put into another so that we still have those elements.
Well, and some characters got introduced way earlier.
Yep.
Like, you wouldn't have met Garp until your next reading section, this Water 7 one upcoming.
I still haven't seen him in the manga.
Yeah, you have not met him yet. You have to finish Water 7 at Ennis Lobby to see him.
So
you are correct, Dakota Doyle, but I mean, like, yeah, the Foxy arc is like, the anime arc is 90% filler. And also, fuck Foxy. He's the worst.
And also, I swear
He's
to God,
literal worst.
I've seen complaints that the One Piece anime has really, in the newer arcs, they're really well animated and people love them, but they are slowed down heavily even compared to the old ones and how many chapters are adapting per episode.
Yeah, like the best example of that is like Dressrosa. I love Dressrosa. All of Dressrosa together, like the entire saga for Dressrosa, is like 270 episodes. But I would genuinely, I would probably put it on par lengthwise, probably closer to like Ennis Lobby and Water 7. Like, it did not need to be 270 episodes.
So
it just did not. It's too long. I love it. It's one of my favorite arcs, if not my favorite. It did not need to be that long.
So what the adaptation probably looks like is kill the filler arcs, whether they be anime or even ones that are just not important in the manga, which I know there's very few of those in the manga. And then take those, like, don't do the current anime's fight pacing. That cuts it down a fair amount. Hell, you can even cut down the early anime's fight pacing pretty heavily.
But that's what I'm saying is like if you just reset the fight pacing, you could lose half the show, right?
But then you
take another 100 episodes off for filler, you're still at like 500.
But then then you do the live action treatment of reshuffling things so that you don't need to have arcs that aren't filler technically, like Sky Island's not technically filler, but there's a lot less important in it that can't be moved to another arc.
But I'm going to be honest, I don't want another different version of One Piece. And I don't think that's what they're intending to do.
They're doing 200 episodes?
I genuinely don't.
If that 280 episode rumor is true, that's what they're intending to do, because that's the only way it works. And at that point, you're not the target demographic. I'd say just don't get your hopes up about it, because you're only going to be disappointed.
The One Piece anime remake, titled The One Piece, is going to be produced by Wit Studio. It's supposed to be released either late 2025 or sometime in 2026. It was announced in 2023. There's a single image. It says that the first season will cover the whole East Blue, right? It does not say how many episodes the first season will be, but whether it's 12 or 24 or whatever, it will cover East Blue.
If we're thinking about 20-minute episodes, that's looking like the exact pacing of the live action.
Well, no.
Maybe a little slower. Maybe a little slower.
Hang on. Let's get back to my... Oh, fuck. I can't see you now. Is that just me? It might just be me. There we go. No, because the One Piece live action did not cover all of Romance Dawn.
But it covered
East Blue Saga.
it covered most of it. The only thing we're missing is Logetown. And
True.
they're double length episodes. How long is it?
Logetown up to Reverse Mountain.
Is it an 8 episode series for season 1 of live action?
I thought it was 10.
It might be just double. You double that count because it's double length episodes, or it's TV length, like live action.
Also,
TV
Dakota Doyle's correct. You might not like Sky Island, but it does actually have a fair amount of story importance.
For the themes it has over the story, themes are the kind of thing though, like you can reshuffle that shit.
Let me see what I can. Let me see what.
Like, I'm not saying it's going to be it's going to keep the integrity of the original story intact. You can't at 280 episodes from a series that previously got adapted to over 1,000. We're not even close to. They're not even in the final arc of the anime yet, if I'm not wrong, and they're past 1,000. You're not getting it down to 280 if the rumors are true, and maintaining all the integrity thematically. Like, I genuinely think One Piece fans will be disappointed by this remake, and they're. But if it's a good, if it's good in its own right, or if it has good elements and it's approachable, there will be a debate in the One Piece fandom on whether or not the remake's any good. That's just how remakes tend to be, especially ones that do condensing like this.
Yeah,
didn't that happen exactly that way with Dragon Ball?
NikNak, I think you're clinging real hard to this unsubstantiated rumor about like 200 episodes.
Well, I'm just approaching
we literally have, like, we don't know that.
I'm just approaching it from the idea that if that rumor is true. If it's not, we then have the discussion of the 600 episodes. Is that worth it at that point? And that's also a worthwhile discussion of having. Like, you brought that up yourself, and I actually agree with that general discussion. Sorry, I'm not cutting you off as you're talking. You're kind of lagging out here.
Not actively talking. I'm trying to like what we actually know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
What actual things have we been told about? Because we know so very little, even though it was announced almost 2 years ago now. We know so very little about it.
I mean, at the end of the day, no matter whether the rumors are true, not true, you as a longtime One Piece fan, outside of seeing some of your favorite fights potentially reanimated with really good animation, like tremendously good animation, is there a world where this remake is satisfying and necessary?
I don't think it necessarily has to be dissatisfying. Like, I would love to see kind of like a slimmed down version of One Piece, you know? Like, I don't disagree that the series is in some places unnecessarily long. I don't disagree about that. It's just I'm so very curious what they're thinking. I think what it comes down to is the thing I'm curious about is that we know it's going to be released seasonally. Like, that has been confirmed. Is it going to be 2 core seasons? Because like, or will that be like on an arc to arc basis? Because East Blue absolutely fits into 12 episodes. But like, for example, right? So the Alabasta saga covers all of Chopper's storyline too. Drum Island. The live action is not doing Drum Island and Alabasta in the same season. Season 2 is going to end after Drum Island, and Alabasta will be season 3. So would they do 1 core for East Blue, 2 cores for Alabasta and Drum Island? Or would they try... You could not get Drum Island and Alabasta into one 12-episode core. It's not possible. Not unless you destroy it. You would have to destroy both of those arcs to get them to fit into 12 episodes. I'm just curious. I'm very curious, because then I could also see the argument that, like, if you make all of the seasons 2 core, you don't really need 24 episodes for East Blue. I'm going to be honest.
I guess
East Blue does not require 24 episodes to cover.
When you look at this anime, what do you as a fan want this anime to accomplish? Like this remake.
I don't want to lose any of the integrity of the character backstories. and like and there's the things that do connect from like the beginning of the anime to the end of the anime. I think that's integrally important to the experience of One Piece, because one of the reasons why it is so good is because Oda is really, really good at connecting and developing plot points across hundreds of episodes, where you see something that means something when you first see it, and then you get more context hundreds of episodes later that makes it mean even more to that character or that plot point. I don't want to see that lost. And I would really like some slimmed down fights. Oh my fucking god. Sanji's arc, Baratie, 3 episodes. Does not need to be 15.
Okay, so anime hits 600 to 800 episodes. Are you satisfied? Do you think that gets the job done?
Personally, I think you could probably knock it down to 500. If it continues on for as long as I think it's going to continue on, and it takes as long as I think it's going to take to finish it, I think you could knock it down to 500 episodes. Because you remove all of the filler, first of all. Don't even need to translate it over. Just remove all of the anime-only filler. And then I genuinely think you could cut the anime by half by just trimming fight scenes. And then it's not to say that there aren't things that I think could be removed from there, but I do think you could probably manage to get it into 500 episodes. And I'm also thinking about like how many seasons there are, right? So like if each season is supposed to cover an arc, right? I'm assuming they're not supposed to cover whole sagas, because there's no way you can put Alabasta and Drum Island into 12 episodes. You could in 24, but not into 12. But accounting for that, we have, what, 11 sagas? 11 or 12 sagas? I might be miscounting. It's somewhere between 10 and 12. And if each one of those is 24 episodes, if they don't pull an Attack on Titan final season part 1 part 2, final season part 2 part 1, final season part 2 part 2 when they get towards the end, which I don't think they will, because that would just unnecessarily irritate fans. That doesn't math though, because like even if I assumed 10 seasons based on 24 episodes, that does translate to about 240.
Now, could you do all those sagas in a 2-core season? That's the hard question, isn't it? Because now that's where your episode's going to start expanding. But that was the criteria you set out there, if that's the goal.
Yeah, I think. Well, let me think about this. Okay, I think East Blue is a 1-core. Oh, Alabasta is 2-core. Skypiea is 1-core. Water 7 and Ems Lobby is 2. Thriller Bark is 1. Paramount War is 2. Then you have The Break. Fishman Island is 1. Punk Hazard is 1. Dressrosa is 2. Whole Cake and Wano are separate. You'd want a 2-core for both. And Elbaf is definitely going to be, at minimum, a 2-core.
While you're doing the math, I have my own math I want to look into here.
2-core seasons math out into like 240 to 280 episodes, right? Based on how many sagas there are currently. I don't think not all of those sagas need 2 cores, but I do think there's 1 or 2 sagas that would need 3. But once again, that would equal out like those extra cores you don't need in like Thriller Bark or Skypiea or Romance Dawn, right? East Blue. You could put them somewhere else that needed that extra core. So I mean, I think it comes down to the sort of fact where I'm thinking of like Dressrosa, for example, which is almost 300 episodes. And I'm trying to think, could I slim down Dressrosa into 24 episodes? I don't know. Like, genuinely. If you hit like just the big plot points, yes. But I don't know if you really could. That would be very ambitious to like take Wano or Dressrosa, which are like 300-ish episodes, and try to fit them into a 2-core season. It's not even like slimming down the fights so much, but there are so many more fights in those arcs, plus story progression, and in both Wano and Dressrosa, they do this thing where the crew splits into multiple groups, and then you're following 2 separate storylines, and each group is actually interacting with different parts of the overarching story, not just, fighting their way through 2 different areas to get to the same final boss. So I think when it gets to post time skip, it gets a little funky in terms of how many episodes I think you would need to properly adapt some of these arcs. But I think that like 3 out of 5 of the pre-time skip arcs don't need 2 cores. Like 3 out of like 5 don't need 2 cores. They just don't.
But so if you move a couple of those cores to later on, it still maths out to be that.
About, yeah. I don't know. I suppose if you were to go off of that rationale, I could see that the final goal would be somewhere between 250 and 300, depending on how much we have left in the actual original anime itself. I just don't know if because that math works in part 1. I don't know if it works in part 2. There are fewer arcs in part 2, but they are so much denser. And it's not just that they're denser in terms of how long the fights take, but they're also denser in terms of content. More is happening at all times in Dressrosa than is ever happening in like Alabasta. So I don't know. Post time skip, everything gets a little funky. It really does, because that's also when plot lines that have been seeded for like 600 episodes start like coming together and then paying off, and you want to see that payoff of like all these things that you learned 300 episodes ago pay off, because you're like, oh, I remember that, or oh, that really adds to this section of story, like it makes sense. It adds to the characterization. How much of that do you cut? How much of that do you keep? The story gets denser. I don't know. We've spent so long on One Piece. We need to go soon.
Yes, we do.
One Piece is a fraught topic to bring up with me.
I think regardless of what you're looking at here, I think you might be a little underestimating how much they can cut it down a bit.
I absolutely think I am, because that nostalgia and like the fact that I really love these arcs. Like Dressrosa is my favorite arc. Of course, I don't want large chunks of it to get cut. Besides, like the length of the fights.
How long is?
But what you gonna do about it? What you looking up?
Okay, so I took a quick look here, and I don't know, because I know the One Piece is a thing.
Yes, I have also watched One Piece.
And One Piece, I don't know exactly how they approach that.
So One Piece cuts out all filler, like all non-canon filler, and then they cut all repeated animation, openings and endings, those last time on, and any time that the fights repeat themselves at the beginning or end of the episodes.
Okay. So
They do not cut out like fight scenes if they're extra long, though. They leave all that in. They just cut out all of the doubling.
And from what I
from
saw,
episode to episode.
already to its current episode count, from what I saw online, it's a 45% decrease of the series. So if you're now simplifying the fight scenes and maybe not dragging some of the ones out as long as they get dragged out, even accounting for that, you probably could cut it down much closer to that estimate.
But yeah, okay, but even 45%, I mean,
that's almost that half you were identifying earlier.
yeah, but keep in mind, then you do have to add back in openings and endings and recaps, because One Piece cuts those out. It's not that they like just cut down like last time on Dragon Ball Z. No. At the start of every arc, there is one opening, and then there is one ending at the end, and it's the entire. It'll be like One Piece will produce like an arc in like a 45-minute chunk.
Okay, I'm going to challenge you here. This is not something I expect them to do, but they could do it. ReZero has some infamously long arcs. Like I'd argue right now in light novels, ReZero is probably the light novel One Piece in terms of the amount they're looking at having to adapt in the long term. They're season 2. During the back half of season 2, you know how they saved runtime? The opening only ever played for one episode. So technically, you don't have to have the opening, I guess. But that's getting into its own can of worms.
There's so many banger openings.
Yeah. Look, that one ReZero opening was a fucking like probably my favorite opening in all of ReZero. Not no respect given.
Yeah, I think also the amount that the other thing to notice is that so you're looking at the overall average, right, of the One Piece cut down. So I'm in the One Piece Discord server, right? They actually have a color-coded spreadsheet document which percentages how much they're cutting out from each arc and saga. And that 45% number, right, average, includes filler arcs and stuff like East Blue, where they're able to cut down all of East Blue to like a 1-hour episode.
That's what I would absolutely give to you, because as soon as you hit that final arc, you really can't call. Usually, if the series is any kind of good, you can't call anything in a final arc a filler.
Exactly. Like once you get out of the kind of beginning bit, you've got that other section.
All right, well.
And the other section is so much worse. So much worse.
Well,
I want to say. Damn. Okay. I'm gonna find that document and share it with you. Not now, but like later. I had a copy of it at one point. I don't think I have the updated copy anymore, but yeah. I think. Sorry, go.
I just thought that'd be something interesting to bring up, since that's like the current standard, and even the One Piece doesn't necessarily fix the anime being a little bit more slowly paced in the first place. So, but I do agree with the other challenges you brought up there too. That was just one last consideration I wanted to throw out there. But yeah, we probably need to call this, because I think both of us need time to go do our Duolingos still for the day.
Yes, we do. On that note, I will say, yes, Dakota Doyle, I agree. I think Saba could be introduced earlier. A character NikNak has no knowledge of. I will say, I do think this was a lot of fun. I enjoyed tea time. Maybe next time we avoid One Piece.
No, I
think we should have a rule, like a list of like things where it's like avoid this if we need a short stream.
Look, I think we do tea time as long as we're willing and as long as we're able. So like if we bring up One Piece, it comes up naturally, or there's a reason to talk about One Piece. I'm not against talking about One Piece. You enjoy it. It keeps the conversation engaging. I could talk about shit I'm only interested in all day. Like, I could have sat here and talked about Xenoblade for 2 hours. That wouldn't work well as a conversation with you, so I don't want to talk about that much. But if there's something we can talk about that we can actually talk about, better to keep it on there.
You see, Dakota Doyle's right.
Look, I think One Piece is one of those. Like it's like Fate. Fate's gonna come up in these plenty, if nothing else, because the comments will want to talk about what's going on. So like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sit here and be like, hey, comments, you're gonna talk about Fate. So I'll probably be talking about Fate with Sekhie at some point, and then turn around and tell you, no, we're not talking about One Piece. We can talk about One Piece all you want on this. This is just whatever the fuck we want to talk about that day. Well, with that being said, we do need to get going, so we'll see y'all around. I'll be back tomorrow night for Fate Extella. So see you guys then.
Back next week.
All right, I'll see you guys. Bye.
Poodles.